867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM, 96.1, and 87.7 FM, as well as online around the world at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere on your phone or tablet by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, tell Alexa or Google to play Sports 56. If it's happening in the world of sports, we've got it covered. Wherever you are, stay tuned to real sports talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. You already know you can listen to Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also keep up to date with everything going on by keeping up with Sports 56 on social media. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch for information on breaking news, chances to win prizes, and video of all the shows. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Stay in touch with Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 on social media.
Campbell Clinic now offers daytime walk-in care, and you don't need an appointment. If you've got any kind of urgent break, sprain, strain, you can walk into any of their 5 convenient locations Monday through Friday from 8 until 4. There's no long wait you have to put up with the ER, and those doctors are really good, but they're not orthopedists. They're not world-renowned orthopedists who have come up with different procedures and written the manuals for them that are used everywhere in the world, and I'm not kidding you. And you can now see those doctors who treat the Tigers, the Grizzlies, the Redbirds. You can see them today without an appointment. And I'm talking Collierville, Germantown, South Haven, downtown at the Med Center, or even the Campbell Clinic Spine Center in Cordova. Now, if you've got something pressing, you got to go to work, and you can bear the pain until the evening, there's Campbell Clinic After Hours. That's Monday through Thursday from 5 to 8 in Germantown, South Haven, even Saturday morning in Germantown. If you're injured, don't wait. Visit Campbell Clinic Walk-In Care or Campbell Clinic After Hours.
You'll see the dedication in every single step. You'll see it in the smiles when smiles are hard to get. You'll see it in the little things that add up to success. The caring and passion are the things that we love best.
Wolf Chase Limb Brace is your Mid-South provider for orthotics and prosthetics. They are an ABC-accredited facility, and their practitioners are ABC certified. At Wolf Chase Limb Brace, their services include artificial limbs, legs and arms, braces of all kinds, and custom molded inserts. You can call them today at 901-507-7821 for their location on Highway 64 in between Germantown Parkway and Appling Road, or visit them at their new location in Jackson, Tennessee. That number is 731-660-5900, or visit them on the web at wolfchaselimbembrace.com.
Dedicated our life to yours. Wolf Chase Limb and Brace.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
And welcome in on this Friday before the Super Bowl. Oh, yeah. That's really like a national holiday. In fact, I was looking at some things calendar-wise, and I saw all these things that were scheduled on in Easter, but everything is canceled. For Super Bowl Sunday, it has really become a national holiday.
We are off Sunday.
I'm sort of the guy that thinks that they should let Monday be off after that, too, so you can recover.
I'll be fine Monday.
You will be. Half of America will not be.
They'll be fine.
They'll be all going to Super Bowl parties. That is for sure. So the future has arrived. Today, it's not the first time this has occurred. It happened in 3, it happened in 8, where the Grizzlies had a lot of representation in what used to be the rookie game. Now it's called the Rising Stars Challenge. And Ja obviously makes it. Jaren Jackson Jr. obviously makes it. Brandon Clark obviously makes it. 3
of the Grizz, who are at one point in time very, very likely to be on the All-Star team itself. All three made it to that challenge game, and I like the way they're doing this. In fact, I'd like kind of to see the way the All-Star game be this way. They will play players from the United States, and Ja and Jaron will be on that team, against players from the rest of the world. And Brandon Clark, being a native Canadian, he will play on that international team.
Yeah, that's great. That is great news, and it's first and second year players only in that Rising Star game. But tonight, the big news: Brandon Clark may be a scratch in New Orleans.
I know, and I'm sad about that because
we will talk with his agent at 5:00.
I know. I was thinking that he would be the matchup on Zion tonight.
Very athletic matchup.
I guess now you put Jay Crowder on him. I don't know. I think that if he had gotten that start, that would have been one I would have really liked to have watched. Clark's got a little height on him. They both can jump out of the gym. We do know, though, that Zion probably outweighs him by, what do you think,
He's got
50
everybody.
pounds?
He's got everybody kind of outweighed. It will not be John Morant on Zion Williamson, but that's the TV matchup. That's the matchup people are looking forward to. First time they will have met as rookie players, 1 and 2 in the draft. And how many times, how many big games in their career? Maybe, hopefully, someday. Is that a Western Conference Finals?
Could be. Wouldn't that be something?
Be fun.
And
Southern flavor.
With the proximity.
We the South.
That could really become your staple rivalry in the NBA because it's literally a train ride.
That
right
would be the
down
natural
the tracks, and on a weekend or over if you could take a few days off and you go for Mardi Gras and you go to one of those showdowns between two guys that really could be part of the big future of this league. I mean, they're the two guys that are clearly going to be the candidates for Rookie of the Year. Ja certainly has a step up on that. One other thing to consider here, since we've got Ja, he's in this game, he's in Dallas. There's a lot of folks think he got snubbed by not being on the All-Star team. I don't think so. If you look at the West, I don't know who you're going to replace him with.
Yeah, anytime I hear snub around any All-Star game, tell me who you're taking out because we can't have a 25-man roster.
No.
So who are you taking out to insert
12 on
John?
each side.
That's it. And I don't think it's a outrage that he's
no.
not. I was hoping that it would be a late push for him. It may be with injuries and a hamstring or ankle here or there before they assemble in Chicago for the All-Star game.
Well, here's the
thing.
But
I don't think it's outrageous.
I think he's a rookie.
He's a rookie.
That's why. And maybe if you were in the East where there's not as many plentiful guards, that you could say that. But Doncic, he's got a right ankle injury. He may not play against the Grizzlies next Wednesday. He may not play in the All-Star game. I'm sure he wants to, but his Mark Cuban, the owner of that team, he doesn't like these Olympic teams. He doesn't like anything that prevents him from having a guy on his side trying to win games. So if he doesn't play because he's slightly tweaked, there's a good chance he would be the guy that would replace Doncic. Now, Devin Booker is another snub who's a guard, who is a prolific scorer. He could get the nod because I don't think he's not been an All-Star yet, has he?
I don't think so.
And a lot of times they would give a nod to a guy who's been around a little bit longer.
And Dallas is a team, right now they're sitting at 5 at 29 and 18, just 3 back in the loss column for the 2 seed. They're like a lot of those 2 through 6 teams in the West. You can be 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. It's a lot to sort out after the break. Well, leading into the break, there's still a lot of games to play before the break. But after the break, it's very fluid in the West. I think the Lakers will hold one all the way through, barring something, injury-wise. Injury-wise for the Lakers, they should be the 1. And I think the 7 is pretty much dictated that it will be Oklahoma City. And the 8 right now, the Grizzlies holding it with some teams behind them.
And a little bit in the rearview mirror, and the Spurs are the closest 2.5. But, this Pelican team, I think we saw on Martin Luther King Day, they're a good team. And now they're adding a piece, and when they get used to playing with him and he starts playing more minutes and he plays at the end of games, They could be a factor in this thing before it's all
You just
said and
wonder,
done.
is it full go for it for the Pelicans? Would they mind being in another lottery? We got a lot to visit with Andy Schiffman about at 5 o'clock on the NBA and Peter at 4 o'clock on the NBA, because this is not cup runneth over draft year.
No. James Wiseman, LeVar Ball, R.J. Hampton, even though I think his stock has slipped a little bit. We'll ask Andy Schiffman about that too. This, as you say, is not a great year. So between the NBA and that news, and we got to talk some Tiger hoops too, we got a lot on the Super Bowl. Bruce Marshall is going to join us next at 3:30, and we are going to pick the Kansas City and San Francisco coaches of the franchise, player of the franchise, moment of the franchise. Peter Edmiston, as you mentioned, will join us at 4 from the Super Bowl itself. Joe Theismann, the great NFL quarterback who spends quite a bit of his time
Super Bowl champ
in Memphis, and a Super Bowl champ. And you say the first who ever wore the number 7 in a Super Bowl?
No. Not the first. I think he was the first winning quarterback to wear number 7 in a Super Bowl.
And then Andy Schiffman, and then Eli from Radio Row to end the week there
with Kevin Harlan
coverage with Kevin Harwell.
Kevin Harlan.
I mean Harland. Wow, that's terrific. And then crunch time, and then we will end our week.
This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Give them a call at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the golden opportunity start to 2020 sales event. Great offers on all the 2020 models, always special lease options. If you've ever thought I'd look great in a Lexus, well, guess what? Lexus of Memphis thinks you would look great in a Lexus as well. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2018 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving great. Lexus of Memphis, the highest standards in the industry. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. The phone number, again, is 901-362-8833. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, it just broke about an hour ago that the Futures have taken all 3 of the Grizzly, either first or second year players, Ja and Triple J and Brandon Clark. So that's huge. But there's another really major story developing involving college athletics. Today, the Big Ten athletic directors have sent a proposal to the NCAA which will allow players in every competitive sport in the NCAA to allow those players to transfer once in their careers without having to sit out. So if you think the transfer portal is crowded now, this will certainly change.
Yeah.
And I would tell you that if I were asked about this 2 years ago, I would have said, look, this is for the players. I was all in on the graduate transfer. I mean, if you spent 4 years at a place and you did everything they asked and you graduated and you didn't think you were getting enough playing time or it was a good deal or your coach left or whatever, I thought you should have had the right to go. And, with the way freedom of movement works in pro sports now, I could almost understand why, okay, you do this. But based on what I've seen with, in particular, college basketball, with the numbers in the portals that give up so early, and it's really hurt, I think, continuity of the sport with the way we play the game, I'm not so sure I'm totally for all of this, but I got a feeling
It's going to pass.
This is going to make it.
And Dave, regular run-of-the-mill student can transfer whenever he or she likes. I don't see how we're going to stop it. I don't want to stop it. What it's going to do, it's going to cause a new level of administration to just be constantly recruiting your own roster. to constantly roster maintenance, roster just upkeep will be enormous for people, and you're already seeing around college athletics. We lost the pretense a long time ago of very professional terms and names of positions. It's player personnel director. It's no more the assistant athletic director for ancillary projects. It's pure D, a professional building around most Power 5, all Power 5 football and basketball, and around a lot of others.
Along those lines, do you think this actually will force coaches well, let me put it like this. Will this lower the age of the career or the longevity of that profession?
I think it's already being done by the money. They make so much now. Why be that lifer? Why even be the guy like Frank Beamer?
Because that's what they love.
Well, I know.
That's what they. But my point is,
but you're gonna love it.
You've got to constantly be a player's coach and recruit your guys.
They kind of own you.
My point is, I think as you get older and you're a little bit further removed from a generation or two that you don't quite really, you're grandfatherly maybe, but you're not close enough to really totally understand that culture and the nuances. I think it's going to force coaches to find different positions earlier in their career. We won't have guys for 40 years because they won't be able to keep players.
I think there are a lot of things conspiring against the longevity of a guy now, just the pressure of the money. My top story is Sunday afternoon, Super Bowl 54, finally on Sunday afternoon, 5:30 Central Time kick. We'll have all the action right here. It's hard to pick. It's a toss-up. It's a real toss-up. Fresh stories, though, and fresh teams. Again, I am so glad that we're not wallowing in Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, Bobby Kraft week. I like the two young quarterbacks. I like the one young head coach, and I like the veteran head coach that lacks one thing to his Wikipedia page, and that's winning it all. I like the fresh young names, Bosa, Mahomes, Hill, Kittle, Kelsey, some new stars in this game. I'm ready for 5:30 Sunday afternoon, and I don't care who wins.
I don't really care who wins either. I think it'll be a great game. I think I know who will win.
You want to make a wager on will there be a power outage in the stadium during the game?
Is that one of the
Yes, it's 33-1. I was at a power outage.
It's 33-1. That's you would think it would be a lot higher.
And pull.
Because you would think at a Super Bowl they would have so many backup generators.
And a guard around the transformer box. Will Drake pick
only 33-1?
Will Drake pick or promote a team on Instagram? Yes, -140. No's even. Would Darrell Revis tweet about Richard Sherman during the game? Will I care? Winner of the 15th Puppy Bowl. Who knew? Anthem specials. Demi Lovato. Who knew? Would I know Demi Lovato if she walked in?
Yeah, well, she was just on the Grammys.
I didn't watch the Grammys.
Hold on. Isn't the over-under on the length of that 2 minutes? That is long.
2 minutes, 3 seconds for the lovely and gracious Demi Lovato.
And I heard that her Grammy thing went way over, so I think most of the action on this thing, we'll have to ask Bruce if he knows. I think most of the action is going over.
He wants 2 bets, winner and over and under. Length of the final word, brave, for the lovely and gracious Demi Lovato. 5.5 seconds. Will she hold the note?
Yes, over on both.
Will Demi Lovato omit a word from the national anthem? Yes, +900. No, -3,000. I mean, she could help some family members out.
Yeah, she's a pro. She's not missing a word.
Which quarterback will be shown first during the national anthem?
Can I ask you this? Because I can't remember. I've only been to 2 Super Bowls. The Jumbotrons, do they play the words of the anthem? If they've got the words on the anthem, how do you miss a word?
I think ribbon boards do have them. Will Demi Lovato wear nail polish during the anthem singing?
Are you serious? That's a prop bet?
Exactly.
That's terrible.
Any player raise a fist during the national anthem?
What are the odds on that?
Yes, +600. No, -1,500. Somebody go John Carlos, Tommy Smith. Pregame can win some cash.
So it's a raised arm. It's not a kneel.
Any player take a knee during the anthem.
There we go. What's that?
10-1 yes, no 1-25.
Well, it's nothing like the kneel.
Halftime
like the raised fist.
Halftime special for Drew Barrett, the biggest Shakira fan I know, the only Shakira fan I know. Will Shakira and J-Lo both sing in Spanish? Yes, minus 500.
Absolutely.
No, plus 300. And then the good stuff. We are a G-rated show, so we're going to deviate just a little bit from it. If you're a little bit sensitive about the conversation, we're going to give you about a 10-second time to maybe pause.
What?
Who will show cleavage during the performance?
You can say cleavage, for goodness sake.
Both? J-Lo
I mean,
only,
you could-
Shakira only.
Oh, I think they're both showing, personally.
Cleavage shown. Never thought I'd say those words.
Well, like, what part of the cleavage are
I mean, yeah, well, that's true because we know we've already had a Super Bowl controversy with more than cleavage. Don't tell me they.
Will there be a wardrobe malfunction? Yes, plus 1,000. No, minus 2,500.
There will not be. There will not be, but there will be cleavage shown for sure.
We're kind of due a wardrobe malfunction.
Both those women, from what I've seen, are pretty.
I missed it.
Are pretty proud of their physiques.
Did you see the wardrobe malfunction in real time?
Yeah, of course I did.
You were watching and you knew there was.
Oh, I didn't know. No,
I didn't know till the next day.
Well, I knew because people were going crazy, and so it was like you could go back and check it in slow motion. But
I miss all the fun.
Did we have Rewind live TV back then?
Oh yeah,
Come
you
on, man.
had YouTube
You
back
can do
then.
us like that.
Yeah,
One more.
not that long ago.
Will Gerard Piqué, seriously, anybody got anything on Gerard Piqué?
I might keep going.
Be shown during halftime show? Yes, plus 600. No, minus 1,500. If they show him, I wouldn't know.
You know what? He's got to be a partner to either Shakira, who he's not J-Lo, so I'm going to say he's a partner of Shakira's.
Will Joe Buck or Troy Aikman, either one, say Patriots during the game?
Yes.
Almost have to over Jimmy Garoppolo, wouldn't you?
Sure.
Will Troy Aikman?
Whoa. How about this for a bet? Will Fox bring up the fact that 50 years ago, Joe's dad did the game?
If it's yes, it's plus 300. If it's no, it's minus 500.
Oh, he definitely is going to bring that up.
I
would.
Will Joe Montana be shown at the game? Well, of course he will.
Yes.
Will they mention Colin Kaepernick during the game? Yes, plus 200. No, minus 300.
I'm going to go no on that. What? Although he was a Niner.
Total mentions that Andy Reid has gone 15 years between Super Bowls.
Ooh. How about that he's never won one?
Will they show a clip of the Chiefs in Super Bowl IV? Yes, minus 200. No, plus 150.
Of course they will.
They'll show Hank.
They'll show Hank.
55 cross buck, whatever the play was.
Something
I don't
trap.
know. Yeah, I don't know.
65 Z trap
Yeah.
or something like that.
Will they show the Golden Gate Bridge during the game? Yes, plus 225. No, minus 350.
Why? It's in Miami.
San Francisco's in the game.
I don't remember them showing the Chicago skyline when the Bears were playing in the Super Bowl.
Last one. Will they show highlights of Donovan McNabb throwing up in the Super Bowl? Yes, plus 800. No, minus 20. So we went cleavage and hurl in one segment here.
Wow.
Not top story of the day.
That might be the not top story
of the year.
No, but this is, the coronavirus is now starting to have ramifications long term. Today, there were discussions with the World Health Organization about the 2020 Olympics.
In the neighborhood.
It is in the neighborhood. There have been no deaths in Japan at this point from the virus. There have been 200 and counting still in China. And the World Health Organization, WHO, is very concerned. And so now there has been some collaboration with the Tokyo Olympic officials, the IOC, and the Tokyo folks, and the World Health Organization. That would just be awful. But if this thing is out of control, you can't go.
That
right
assemblage, that
now,
many people?
right now, Americans are being told they should not go to China. And if there are American workers in China that have not been affected yet, they are being evacuated from the China mainland.
My not top story, last time through for UConn Huskies men's basketball tomorrow in the AAC. They never wanted to be in the AAC. They couldn't wait to get out. They won it all. They won the national championship in the first year of the AAC and came through Memphis doing it. Ooh, weren't they good? Napier and Boatwright.
Yep.
And they're out after this year, but we will see UConn again. They're going to be non-conference plans in the future.
Well, it's funny you should ask that because I sprinted in here from the Penny Hardaway press conference, and Penny was asked about that very thing. And Penny said, I can remember there might have been a little bit of discussions, but there was nothing formal that there is any kind of an agreement yet between UConn and between Memphis for a home and home. And
can't play everybody.
I asked Penny how many home and homes he thought he could really give with good teams, because after that discussion came up, he brought up he wants to play Kentucky and Arkansas is brought up, all these schools that he'd like to play. I said, how many of those do you think you could play? And he said 2 to 3. I could play 2 to 3 at home, which means he would also give 2 to 3 away on the road. And he's going to be in all these wonderful, like Maui if he can get in, and he's got a great one lined up for the Bahamas next year. But he can only play so many, and there is nothing official. But he and Danny Hurley have a good relationship, and he did say he would not be against playing a home-and-home with UConn. So those are the top and the not top stories, and we've gone over the lineup, and we're going to Vegas here in just a minute. I'll let you know this portion of the show is brought to you by Supercuts, and there's 15 different locations now with which you can go and look good. If you want to look good tonight for the weekend, if you want to make sure you look good at church on Sunday, maybe just to go to the U of M game tomorrow, get in now. Go to Supercuts right now. Supercuts.com. They're open till later this evening. And they got those 15 locations. You find the one nearest to you, walk through the door, ask about any kind of haircut you want. Ask about details of that haircut. That's their job. They're pros. They take pride in knowing all the details, and they will do a splendid job for you. And every haircut ends with the hot towel finish. It leaves you invigorated. It leaves you relaxed. What a combination. And you know what else? When you walk out the door, you're going to feel good. Why? Because when you walk out of Sports Clips, Supercuts, you look good. Back in a minute. This is Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Take Sports 56 with you on your phone or tablet. Download our official Sports 56 app today.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions, like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. Indeed will also give you this sticky frog, which will suddenly leap and stick to the face of the perfect hire. Okay, there's no sticky frog. But skills tests, that's a for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Post your next job at Indeed.com/hire and try skills tests for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Help us make room for our incoming inventory at Family Leisure. Save thousands on all floor model spas. Floor model play gyms up to 50% off. Patio furniture 10 to 50% off. Don't wait until May to purchase your swimming pool. Buy now and get scheduled for the spring installation. Additional discounts on all swimming pools, grills, fire pits, outdoor kitchens. Get to I-40 and Wooden Road. There's always something good at Family Leisure.
Family and fun come together.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. Nice to have you aboard on this sort of yucky, spitting a little bit. The weather's going to be incredible on Sunday. Sunshine, low 60s, 63, 64, depending on the weather forecast that you look at. Can't wait for that. Could be a golf. What it's Sunday. Round of golf, followed by a Super Bowl that everybody cannot wait to see. I know I can't wait, and I got a feeling our friend from the Gold Sheep, Bruce Marshall, can't wait as well. We're sitting in the Family Leisure Studios right now, about to go to Las Vegas. But in the meantime, I'm going to let you know you need to head to I-40 and Whidden Road, or just a little bit to the north of that. Look to the east, and you'll find the Family Leisure, where you will find all kinds of deals because they're trying to make room for incoming inventory. You can save thousands on all the floor model spas right now because they got to go to bring in the new stuff. Floor model play gyms, too, like up to 50% off. Patio furniture, 10 to 50% off. Don't wait till May to purchase your swimming pool. By now, and you get priority on the schedule for spring installation. You'll be swimming by the end of May. Additional discounts on all the swimming pools, grills, fire pits, outdoor kitchens. It's all there, all waiting for you at Family Leisure.
Bruce Marshall coming up momentarily from the Gold Sheet when we catch up with him, and looking forward to him breaking this game down. I want to ask him this. Bruce, through the years, has written about and referred to Super Bowl III in Miami and the prospects of it having some shenanigans around the game. Through the years, he's referred to Miami at that time, the number one mob control town in the country was New York City. South Florida and Miami was right up there. And Bruce, for years, has written about and referenced some funky stuff going on around Super Bowl III and the Miami influence. We've talked about Super Bowl II and III are in Miami, the only ones back-to-back. It hosted 3 out of 4 years. They had 2, 3, and 5. I mean, that was the site to go to in the early days of the NFL.
One was in the Coliseum, correct, in Los Angeles?
One was in the Coliseum.
And then 2 and 3 were in Miami.
4 was in New Orleans. You could have a little influence there, too.
And that is where our friend Jim Marcellus and these Chiefs beat the Minnesota Vikings.
Upset. Real upset.
Yeah.
But Super Bowl III in Miami was the one that got a lot of discussion. Then Super Bowl V was back there. This will be the 11th time Miami is hosted, and that'll be a part of the Germantown Commissary Big Q of the day and Collierville Commissary when we get to it related to Miami. So start studying Miami Super Bowls when you want to win the commissary.
When are we making our final picks here?
At 4:50.
At 4:50.
Just like the run sheet says.
Mm-hmm. I know. I finally got it all figured out.
I don't type those things up for my health.
I'm so glad.
Looking forward to visiting with Joe Theismann. His stat line in the Super Bowl win over Miami, 15 of 23 passing for 142 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That could be Mahomes after the first quarter Saturday.
Yes. 142 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. That's the total. Who was the MVP of that Super Bowl?
John Riggins.
Yeah.
He
just ran the football.
Lynn Dawson in the Chiefs Super Bowl in Super Bowl IV.
Mm-hmm.
He was MVP.
How many?
12 of 17 for 142 yards, a touchdown and a pick.
17 passes.
17 attempts, 12 completions, and that was the MVP. Joe Montana, in his first Super Bowl, and he was MVP, 14 of 22, 157 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown. You covered that game in Detroit.
I did.
These numbers. I mean, it's tough to be a defensive guy now.
I'll never forget that Super Bowl for a couple of reasons. One, I think it was like the very first play. We had an offensive lineman go down with the most vicious leg injury.
No, that was Tim Crumride much later.
Was it much later in the game? I thought it was right off the
That
beginning.
was much later. Super Bowls than that. It was 49ers, Bengals in Miami.
I was at that game too. So I'm confusing.
Did not happen in Detroit.
Okay, so I'm confusing that one. But this one I won't confuse because the two I went to were in Detroit and one in Miami, and
Quite a contrast.
And the one in Detroit was so cool because everywhere when you went around the city, they had all these ice sculptures. It was the first time I'd ever seen anything like that.
Even when they have them in the domed sites in cold weather cities, and they for sure did in New York when they were outdoors in a cold weather city, they make a vain attempt at trying to embrace the cold.
Oh yeah.
Why run from it?
You're exactly. Embrace it. Use it. And I thought the ice sculptures were really, really cool. Of course, that game took place in a stadium that no longer exists.
Give me South Beach over embracing ice sculptures.
And where I saw the Super Bowl, it was Cincinnati and San Francisco. That was in a stadium they don't use anymore either. So it is amazing how quickly these stadiums come and how quickly they will go. So we are efforting. I think we got a little slight problem with Bruce. We will get him here momentarily. In the meantime, I will tell you tomorrow is an important game for the University of Memphis. There is no question about that one. If you take a look at the UConn basketball team, even though this team is 11-9, I am amazed. They've beaten Florida, and they beat them by 3, even in games
very early
that they have lost. They lost to Xavier, was ranked at that time in double overtime. The games that they've lost to some pretty good teams.
They don't have an ugly loss.
UConn do not.
They do not have that brutal what in the world were they doing loss.
No. They did lose to Tulsa at home in overtime, but all their games are close. So I think we've got it pretty well established. We've got an upper tier of 6 teams and a lower tier of 6 teams. And I think of the lower tier, UConn actually could be the best of the lower tier.
So many leagues look like that. The SEC is copy and paste. There's the top 7 and then the rest.
Bruce Marshall joins us now. We do go to Las Vegas. We can't wait to talk Super Bowl with you, but I've got to bring this up because Brett has already mentioned it. You have written a lot of times about the second of the Super Bowls that took place in Miami, number 3, and that there could have been shenanigans in Super Bowl 3.
Well, possibly, but sorry there, I got a little quick emergency there. I had to delay me for a couple minutes, but we're okay. There has been conjecture ever since Super Bowl 3 that something was going on there. I mean, while Bubba Smith was alive, he certainly thought something was going on in that game. And there were a lot of people who were there that day who can't quite believe how that thing transpired and how, the Jets ended up winning in some of the performances of some of the Colts. Now, I don't know that I buy into that, but I think it's kind of interesting, especially with some of the people who were involved there, and the big point spread on that game. I mean, there was the way that game evolved was just odd, and there's been some conjecture about it. There just didn't seem to be that sort of urgency on the Colts part. I don't know. It was just a very weird game, and there's some people who still think something went on there. We'll see.
All right, Bruce, was it the classic case in almost every chicanery, hijinks around sports of that big point spread, and they just want to stay under it but not throw the game?
That is what some people I talk to think, although it's just
and it gets away
like
from
conjecture on their part. And I will point out these are mainly Colts fans who think something was up, who don't want to accept that their team got beat.
I got to tell you something. I don't buy it, and I'll tell you exactly why.
They're not a prayer, Johnny Nine is just throwing a football game.
Not only that, but going into that football game, even though nobody was making the kind of money they do now, so financially, I could see where you could go, oh, they're going to offer him so much money. But in
Billy Ray Smith had an off-season job in Little Rock, Arkansas.
In this particular game, though, this was the pride of your league. I mean, the Baltimore Colts, and I remember this because I'm a kid and I'm into it. The Baltimore, I'm a teenager. I am really into the NFL because I've been going since I was 10. And there's no doubt in my mind this was the biggest, baddest Colts team, but we just underrated how good Weeb Eubank, Joe Namath, and all of these Jets were.
Larry Grantham.
And the honest-to-goodness truth is, and it bore out when they merged, the NFL wasn't that far ahead of the AFL. The AFL had been buying good players, stealing them away from the NFL with money or through the draft, and it was clear. It was just they were much better than everybody thought. I don't believe for a second that the Colts threw that game.
No, I don't either. But few people talk about it. It would be a few guys in the Colts, not Johnny U, and their owner. There's some speculation what might have been going on, but it's way far out there. I agree with you. The Colts just got outplayed that day, and they the Jets were better than people envisioned. And the next Super Bowl kind of proved that. There is one other thing here I'm going to throw into the mix, and someday I might try to unpeel this a little bit more. The 1968 AFL season had more very, very odd results than any season I can remember, with some huge favorites either losing or barely winning some games, and some very, very odd things going on. And there was a lot going on. I don't think we know I'm not saying this relates to the Super Bowl, but that year and the stuff that went on after that, one of these days we'll try to peel that back a little bit more. But that year, 68, I am telling you, I have never seen so many strange results, and especially in the AFL that year. And in one of these days, I'll try to uncover a little bit more.
All right. So let's get down to this game, because I think we even talked about it a little bit last week. I think you agreed with my characterization. It's the best overall team, not by a whole lot, but I think slightly better. I think if you look at it all, you would say San Francisco is the slightly better team, but then the better quarterback. And as much as I like Jimmy G, and I've been talking about him all year long, there's no doubt Patrick Mahomes, I think, is the future quarterback of this league. He's already arrived. He's in a Super Bowl, and he's been brilliant. He's been brilliant in the playoffs, and therefore usually you go with the quarterback as the big key that takes you to one side or the other. How do you break this down?
That's the argument for the Chiefs. It might be there too. What I think is going to happen is that the Niners jump out quick in this game, which has sort of been the pattern in the playoffs, and the Chiefs come back at them in the second half, and we'll see if the Niners can hang on. I rarely bring up referees in any analysis of the game, but I've talked to enough people, including Michael Lombardi. We had him on VSiN this week. And I happen to agree with him. Watch and see how many holding penalties are called on the Chiefs. I'm of the opinion, and so is Michael and a few others, that they can't handle the 49er defensive front, that they're going to be pouring in on Mahomes, and it just depends on how lenient the officials are letting Kansas City pass block. And I have never brought that up in an analysis of the game, and I don't know what's going to happen Sunday, but I think that's one thing I would watch.
That's an interesting angle.
Really tight. It's going to hurt the Chiefs a lot, and I do not think they can handle San Francisco's defensive front. Now, what I fear for the Niners, though, is that they're going to be ahead and maybe try to sit on this lead a little bit too much, and the Chiefs are going to be overdrive all in the second half trying to catch up. And we've seen them rally big in the first two playoff games, double-digit deficits both, and come back. And San Francisco's hung on for dear life a couple of times this season. So I kind of think that's what we're going to see, and it might end up being kind of exciting at the end. Our score forecast, though, we took the Niners 34-27. It comes back to old-style football stuff, running and defense. In this high-tech world, and Kansas City is at the forefront of that in the NFL, still it oftentimes comes down to old-fashioned football, running and defense. Both areas, big advantage San Francisco.
The referee in this game is the crew, and the head ref that was the crew that robbed the New Orleans Saints a year ago. It's almost incredible to me that they would get a Super Bowl after that performance of a year ago, but they did. I have no idea, Bruce, but since you brought it up, what is their leaning toward holding? Are they liberal or are they by the book?
Well, I do know, Walt Anderson's crew is not going to work this game. In fact, Walt Anderson's got some new jobs in the NFL officiating. They thought he is Mr. Holding Call for the referees, for what that's worth. And so it's not his crew, and they've been known for throwing flags on holding. I don't know how this is going to play out, but I just think I think the whole game sort of depends on Mahomes being disrupted. And I think San Francisco has a chance to do that and really pressure him here. And they have faced all sorts of more mobile quarterbacks than Mahomes. They faced Kyler Murray twice. They faced Lamar Jackson. They faced Russell Wilson. So, and this is the fastest defensive front I can ever recall. So,
wow.
Anyway, that's sort of how I'm looking at it.
Bruce, any of the props, all these mountain of props and cross references from all the other sports, anything you really like, or just something to have funsies with?
Brett, because they got more of these up every year. You got these cross-sport props on Sunday with hockey and basketball and soccer and you name it. A couple of more mainstream props. First quarter, San Francisco, pick 'em. I think that's a good pick to take San Francisco in the first quarter. Jimmy G, over 3.5 yards rushing. One scramble does it. Sacks don't count as rushing yards. I don't think that's a bad prop. Also, Matt Breida, over 3.5 carries. Yeah, I know he only got one in the Green Bay game, and he had been fumbling some lately. But I think part of that in Green Bay, Mostert was hot, and Kyle Shanahan just rode the hot hand. And two, every other game this year and last season, that's 27 in total before the NFC title game, Breida carried more than 3.5 carries. In fact, it was a three-headed monster for San Francisco. I'm not sure about Coleman's involvement. He's still a very integral part of that offense. I think he gets more work in the Green Bay game and more than 3.5 carries.
So Bruce and the Gold Sheet, like San Francisco in Super Bowl 54,
and over
by a field goal, and they like the over. Bruce, how do we get more of you?
Thank you. Check us out online, DaveGoldsheet.com. Hey, you can read my story this week. It's up at Goldsheet.com. I talk about those preseason games from 67, 69. I've run variations of that story before, but that's when the NFL-AFL rivalry really boiled. More than the Super Bowls in most years. It was in preseason. I write about all that. Goldsheet.com. Basketball issue up there right now, and that's every Thursday going forward. You can get my picks there. Also, VegasInsider.best.com. Twitter at Bruce A. Marshall.
By the way, yesterday I looked at your bracketology. You had Memphis as an 8 seed, but I don't think that had been updated since the 22nd, so you may have dropped them a little bit.
Yeah, the new one, I'll put them up there. I've got them in there, but I've got them on there in the 12 line now. So
12
got a little bit of work to do. Yep.
Ooh.
Thank you, Bruce.
That's the lowest I've seen.
Okay.
But I can understand it. Thank you, my friend. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
Enjoy the game.
You got it. Bye-bye. Bruce Marshall from the Gold Sheet. We'll take a break. Back in a minute. You are listening to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through the midday with Sports 56 Middays. Delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 till 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
The lights are on. The games have started. And now you can place your bets at the casino that's closest to Memphis. Southland Casino. Regular season and postseason. Tournaments and playoffs. Championships and finals. The biggest games are at the best spot to place your bets. Southland. Plus, big screens, great bites, and cold brews. Come make your sports bets now at Southland Casino. Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Frontier Western Store in Olive Branch is your one-stop shop for apparel and boots. Cold weather is here, and Frontier's selection of Carhartt winter gear is just what you need. Shop a wide assortment of jeans, dungarees, vests, bib overalls, and coats, including Carhartt's classic Sherpa and quilt line jackets. You'll find Carhartt quality at that Frontier low price. A new year brings plenty of new arrivals in Frontier's ladies' boutique department. Dresses, tunics, tops, printed and solid leggings, and so much more. Thousands of tops, t-shirts by Simply Southern, as well as on-trend shoes and fashion boots. And finally, there's the world-famous Frontier Boots Showroom. Thousands of name-brand boots for men, women, and children. Ariat, Corral, Rocky, Dan Post, and many more. From rugged work boots to classic dress boots, Frontier has your next favorite pair. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road, Olive Branch, or on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wolochin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back into the Family Leisure Studios. This is the time we've carved out stuff that you love, like the Mount Rushmores and stuff. This was an interesting little twist, the greatest coach, the greatest player, but the greatest moment. And who do you want to start with?
Wherever you want to start.
All right, I'm going to start with Kansas City. How's that? Coach, and you know there are plenty of people that would tell you it's Andy Reid, but for me, it's Hank Stram.
It's Hank Stram until Sunday. If Andy Reid wins Sunday, it's probably Andy Reid.
Well, it might be then, but, you know, it's Hank Stram that got this Kansas City thing going, although there's something else, and we'll get to that in a minute. Player, I could have gone with Lenny Dawson. I could have gone with Buck Buchanan because there's these are guys that are just incredible. But I went with Derek Thomas. Did you really? Wow. And then
I was torn between Derek Thomas and the greatest tight end that's ever played, Tony Gonzalez.
So there's four guys that you could have easily put in any way you looked at it, right? And then for me, the moment, which could have been, because it's history, that they won Super Bowl IV in that big upset, and, man, it was just so much fun to have Jim Marcellus in here yesterday. That was cool. But I really think the biggest moment for the Kansas City Chiefs is that when Lamar Hunt in 1960 moved that team from Dallas to Kansas City as part of the AFL. They went from the Texans to being the Chiefs. They won 2 of the next 6 years. They won the AFL championship. And that's, in my mind, really cemented Kansas City as a big-time sports town.
My moment is a little different than that. My coach is Hank Stram. We mentioned Derek Thomas. My moment, it was still a game late in the game against Washington in Super Bowl IV until they ran the little hitch that Otis Taylor housed to really give them the comfortability of winning that game 23-7. Lenny Dawson to Otis Taylor in Super Bowl IV, my moment.
I saw that video today in looking up this stuff. It was fun to watch. Drew?
Coach, just like y'all, Hank Stram. Player, though, I did go with the best tight end to ever play the game, Tony Gonzalez, and moment, Super Bowl IV.
Very good. I'm glad you got a Tony Gonzalez in there.
San Francisco, there's no doubt about it in my mind. Bill Walsh, good as it gets, one of the greats of all time, professorial, nice guy, great. I mean, he came up with a spread offense. He changed the look of the NFL. I don't see how you couldn't go with him. It's Joe Montana for me. 4 Super Bowl starts, 4 Super Bowl wins, 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Come on. He is the guy who's one of the greatest comeback players in the clutch of all time. And the moment, for me, the catch. And that is Joe Montana to Dwight Clark in the NFC Championship
Not
game,
a Super Bowl.
1981, but you know what? Right, not a Super Bowl. But that was the beginning of the dynasty that we came to know as the 49ers.
You're exactly right. It is the catch. And think about what if that ball caroms off Dwight Clark's hands, if Everson Walls intercepts it, if the Cowboys, and they were driving to score late in the game after the catch before a Danny White interception, who knows the quirks and the twist and fate of sport? What if the 49ers started thinking we're the bridesmaid. We're because in that NFC, in that 49er stretch, you had the Bears, you had the Giants, and you had Washington.
Yep.
What if those teams had taken the NFC superiority? It's no doubt the catch. It led to everything that transpired after that. The number one coach is Bill Walsh, number one player, and I think he's the number one player in the history of the NFL, barely over the great Jim Brown, number 80, Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice, you went with over Joe. That's interesting. Wow.
I'm the exact same. Jerry Rice, Bill Walsh, and the catch.
Okay. That was easy. We're all in agreement.
And after Sunday, Kyle Shanahan's not knocking off Bill Walsh after Sunday. I don't know if he's knocking off George Seifert after Sunday.
True. I agree with you.
If he wins. But Andy Reid knocks off Henry Stram if he wins Sunday.
You could certainly make the case. He's got a lot more wins. You realize he was the coach in Philly for 15 years?
And a long stretch in between Super Bowl appearances.
And to me, what I find interesting is now we perceive him as grandfatherly. You remember when he first got that job, Drew would not, but when he first got the job in Philly, they were I think he was 40 years old. They were complaining he was too young to be a head coach.
Yeah, and he offensive guru, played at BYU, kind of really at the coaching tree he came out of was really Lavelle Edwards initially.
Yeah, that's right.
Brian Billett came out of that BYU group before he won it, back when he was certified genius for one title.
Mm-hmm. Boy, Lavelle Edwards. How long did Lavelle Edwards coach?
Forever.
At BYU. Was it 40 years?
It was a long stretch.
It was.
And all kind of different offenses too.
Yep. Anyway, you're talking about some great history with two great teams and great names and great memories. I went back and the cool thing with YouTube now is you can go back and you can see like all these incredible highlights from years ago.
It's great. It's great to go back and find all that. You can lose a weekend at YouTube.
You could do that very, very easily. This portion of our show is brought to you by Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and tune-ups. I like to say that my wife is our maintenance person. And she is. I mean, she's really detail-oriented. But she's really, really high on making sure you get tuned up. And now we find out why. Conway will tell you that if you miss a tune-up, 5% of your efficiency basically gone. That means you're paying 5% literally more on your heating bill. You're also damaging the lifetime of your system. So if you keep it tuned, it lasts longer and you save money. Every time you miss 5%, some of you might have missed, because we do it twice a year, some of you might have missed 4 times. That's 20%. Ooh, that adds up on your MLGW bill. And your house just doesn't get heated the right way. Please do yourself a favor. $57. Call 384-3511. 384-3511. Just do the smart thing. It's a heck of an investment on the longevity of your system and keeping your house warm and keeping your MLGW bill down. Conway, that's the way to go. We are back in just a minute. When we return, we'll talk about All-Star Snub. We'll talk about the Rising Challenge Stars, all that other good stuff. Coming your way in a minute as you listen to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. It is that time of year where the weather is unpredictable, and given the recent storms, it's a good time to discuss insurance claims. So here's a few things you should know. Always hire a local contractor, because if you have a problem with your roof down the road, you want to be able to find him. Never allow anyone to pressure you into signing a contingency contract. They're used as sales tools, making you feel committed, and the truth is, those contracts are not worth the paper they're written on. Be careful of door-knocking salesmen. Some are reputable, but many are not. They canvass the neighborhood and tell everyone to file a claim, working the percentages and not caring if you file a claim even when they know the likelihood of it being approved is low. Some will even damage your roof hoping to convince the adjuster it's storm damage. That's fraud, and contractors have gone to jail for that. So do your research and know who you're hiring. 5 Ash Roofing, the official roof of the University of Memphis Athletic Department. Fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5 Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
Kansas City and San Francisco are headed to the big game, and Sports 56 will be there.
Wide open, George Kittle, out of this world, touchdown Kansas City.
Join Eli Savoy live from Radio Row in Miami for Sports 56 middays and throughout the day, Tuesday through Friday. Get all the latest news and hear guests from around the league previewing the matchup. Coverage of the big game on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 is presented by The Big Green Egg, Olive Branch Motorsports, and also brought to you by Memphis Tourism and Sports Council.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM, 96.1, and 87.7 FM, as well as online around the world at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere on your phone or tablet by downloading the Sports 56 app, and at home, tell Alexa or Google to play Sports 56. If it's happening in the world of sports, we've got it covered. Wherever you are, stay tuned to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
65 toss power trap. That was it.
What was it called?
A texter sent it in, and I was reading in his voice. 65 toss power trap, boys. It's going to be wide open.
He goes, ha ha! I told you to work.
It's going to be wide open. I told y'all. I mean,
love that.
And he knew he was wired that day.
Oh, he absolutely. That was the first time NFL Films did it. That was an experiment that was just a humongous
go terribly wrong
success.
With a lot
I had
of
the right guy.
Yeah.
Do you see how many times, seriously?
Oh, he was checking his tie.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's like Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah.
I don't know if Rodney Dangerfield didn't do that just because it was to mimic that. He must have straightened that tie literally 100 times.
Oh, he did. And it was always very nattily attired. And later, Hank Stram did the almost unthinkable. But I think Marv Albert has really pulled it off. But Marv's had the 21st century replacement.
Oh, the toupee you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the hair looked a little...
Hank pulled off, in the 70s with the Saints, he pulled off a piece of shag carpet.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, he did. He was... that radio booth with him and Jack Buck, that had to be one spiffy, attired
And it was. And you know Jack Buck was always... forever was colorblind, and he dressed very garishly, and it was mixed and matched, and it would be greens with pinks and teals, and it was.
Yeah. I never knew he was colorblind.
He was a mess, and years later he said, "I don't know what I'm putting on. I just grabbed the first 4 or 5 things in the closet. I don't know blue from
Interesting."
And people thought he was kind of being flamboyant, almost
right.
in
Haywood
Hale-Brune,
yeah.
Craig Sager, Rob Fisher type way.
Well, hate to say it, Haywood was the first.
I hate to burst anybody's bubbles out there, but I've seen Rob Fisher just in a gray suit at a wedding. He's not always in character.
I'm actually very happy to hear that, to be honest with you. Peter Edmiston. Well,
I've seen Peter Edmiston in a tuxedo.
I'm sure he's got
at
some sort of a suit and a tux. Usually he's wearing shorts. Are you wearing shorts right now at this very moment?
I mean, that's a little personal, don't you think?
Well, Peter, I mean, come on. We're all friends, aren't
Hey,
we?
who could say? I don't know.
I spent mornings with you very early for a long time.
I've shared a room with you. I mean, I'll just tell our public that.
I got a lot. Well, I have to tell you, I have a long and complicated story, but I'll sum it up like this. We have a house we've been in for, I don't know, like a year and a half probably. One of the surprises that we have is that we have a closet, my wife and I, that locks from the inside, and we have mistakenly locked the closet and cannot open it. So my clothing situation is actually a little bit of a difficult thing. 99% of my wardrobe is locked right now. So until the locksmith comes,
my goodness!
I'm struggling here.
Well, it's a darn good thing
Kick
that
the door
game
down.
is in New Orleans tonight. Then that's all I can
No
say.
kidding. No kidding. I don't know what I would do. Oh, actually, I got to go. I'm going to coach my son's basketball team here in a little bit. So we're gonna have to rely on some jackets and stuff to cover up some things. Figure out what we can do here.
Wow, very interesting. Well, I hope the locksmith comes soon.
Me too. You and me both.
All right, so we got some news today, and it's really, I think, incredible news that the three guys made the Rising Stars Challenge. Ja, you knew was a lock. Triple J, obviously second year. I guess maybe there was a little doubt, but I thought for sure he'd get it. And Brandon Clark was going to make it. So all three do. It's the third time, I guess, 03 and 08 that there have been multiple Grizzlies that have made this game. Used to be called the Rookies game. And it sure feels to me like the future has now arrived. That makes it official.
Yeah, I mean, it was really a no doubt situation with all three of those guys, especially given the format of the United States and the world team with Brandon Clark being Canadian. No doubt there. Ja and Jaren were absolute locks. Brandon would probably have made it either way, but certainly given the world team, he would have. If DeAnthony Melton were from Canada, he would have made the world team as well. Just really couldn't beat anyone else out from that U.S. team, but he has played extremely well. Dylan Brooks is in his third year, or else he would be in the mix too. But the young core that the Grizzlies have, or at least the young group, but I don't know exactly the core, who's the core group and all that. That's still a debate for another time. But it's a great young group, and yeah, I'm not surprised that they're honored in the way that they have been.
Now, some have said that Ja sort of got snubbed by not making the All-Star team. I
love All-Star snub.
I look at the reserves though, and I don't think he got snubbed because I'm not sure I could find anybody that you could take off.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is I don't really. I think number one, the All-Star game. It's weird to me that the All-Stars, the rosters are 12 at this point when, the NBA active rosters are 13. So I don't know why we don't add that extra person at least. Then on top of that, I looked at the teams. The biggest snub for me, probably, if not Devin Booker. I think you could make a very strong case based on his numbers and what he's done and his improvement. He's an improved defensive player. He's really put up a bunch. I think 27 and 6, something like that. So there's a lot there. I think he have a pretty strong case. Maybe Karl Anthony Towns, although the fact that his team is absolute garbage is not helpful to him in that regard. So, but yeah, I think Ja's got a strong case, and I know Charles Barkley, Shaq last night, both were advocating for
real luminaries.
For Ja, and that definitely helps. And I'm kind of curious. I think part of it is also that Ja is, if you go by the theory of team success, the fact that the Grizzlies are sitting at 500 at least as we speak speaks very well of him, and he is integral to that success. And the fact that he's played so well in the fourth quarters, his clutch performance have been spectacular. That really speaks well for him too. So if one thing that's interesting, Luka Doncic has hurt his ankle, and who knows how long that'll keep him out. But if he has to be replaced, how deep would you have to go before Ja would be the replacement named by the commissioner?
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm assuming it would be Booker.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: is Booker?
I think it has to be thought. I think you'd have to think of, especially given that it's an All-Star game and Ja is like a perfect primo numero uno all-star player.
Is Booker going to be in Chicago for the 3-point shooting contest?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he'll be there no matter what. Most guys are. So,
well,
I don't think I have a problem getting there. If that's
well, the reason I'm asking is, if you've already got Ja there, so if on that day the decision is made, or the day before, that Luka can't make it because the ankle is too tender, you got a guy there already. You're not going to go send a plane and bring Booker in.
Usually that'll be made usually that'll be several days beforehand. They typically, if it's on the day, it would just be you just leave it out. I don't think it'll be that emergency of a call up. Usually, I would think it would be the Mavericks and Luka. I know there was some discussion about how long that may keep him out. Who knows? But if they have to make the replacement, which they've had to do from time to time with the commissioner, stepping in to name a replacement or two, I think it's possible. I don't know if there are two, like somebody like a Chris Paul, who's a little bit older, who knows what happens. I'm certainly not wishing anybody to have any of that sort of thing, but I don't think he's far off. Is the point? I think it's pretty impressive how close he is, closer than I could have possibly imagined to begin his rookie season for him to be an all-star. And no one would bat an eyelash. He would be a deserving all-star and would be a fun all-star because he would make everyone else that much better.
Peter, how big is it for the Grizzlies to be 24 up, 24 down?
It's really amazing. I don't know impact long-term, all that stuff. I mean, you still got a lot of season left, but the fact that they are solidly ensconced in the playoffs and that they are at the 500 mark at this point of the season, we are January 31st. Crazy. I thought, 24 would be a pretty normal win total for the year. And they're sitting there now with that many before the All-Star break. It's a testament to how well this young core has done. And there's a lot of, when something like this happens, there's a lot of success and a lot of accolades to go around. I don't know, even know how you necessarily divvy it up. I think Taylor Jenkins has been excellent in terms of his coaching, particularly in the implementation of the style and the fact that he's empowered young teams, young players to go out there and play it. Not a lot of coaches that I know of would have had the faith in a young team to go out there and do what they do, but he really puts a lot on those players, and they've jumped in there with both feet. I think improved across the board. Dylan Brooks has been really, really good, particularly in the month of January. Fantastic numbers that are eye popping, honestly. And it's getting to the point where it's not even that big of a deal to see him go out there and put 20, 22, 25. Okay, just another day at the office. I mean, he's really improved. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been awesome for the last 2 months, and exactly what you want him to be. And he's still, again, just 20 and month younger than Ja. And then the biggest one of all is Ja. At the end of the day, he really has been a franchise changer. And I'll flip the script and pose a question to you guys because it's one I asked this morning. Now, especially with tonight, Ja versus Zion, with those two, now knowing what we know about Ja, knowing where he is right now as a player and what he's done, you look at Zion and the potential that he's got and how well he's played early on in his career, and he's been excellent thus far, just a very small sample size. But, we knew he was a generational type player. But Ja, the numbers and the thought, maybe not quite as much with him. But now, having seen what you've seen with Ja, do you think if you were a GM, would you be able to pull the trigger of Ja over Zion, knowing what you know right now in that draft?
I probably would, and there's two reasons. The first is injury prone. When you weigh 285 or 290 pounds, and you can jump that high, you got to come down.
Something's got to give.
And he's already had problems. He had problems at Duke in the 1 year he was a college
player. It's inertia.
And now he's got this problem here. So for injury, I would be a little cautious. The second thing that really I love about Ja is his fearlessness. If you look at his fourth quarter scoring, and in this current winning streak, he's had double digits in the fourth quarter in both these games. Every time it seems when he's it's like he almost wants to coast for the first 2 or 3 quarters when it comes to scoring, get everybody involved, but when it's payoff time, give me the ball. And I'm going to make something happen. I'm either going to score or I'm going to make some incredible play that will get you a very high percentage bucket.
Peter, I'm going to slice it up a little bit. Run-of-the-mill general manager, no, I take Zion. Here, and not just because we've seen him, I think I would take him because he's so naturally, and I mean this lovingly, he has embraced Smallville. Historically, Smallville in New Orleans has not been embraced. Chris Paul couldn't wait to get out. AD couldn't wait to get out.
Yeah, and I think part of it is also the difference there is ideally the nature of the rebuild and how they're doing it. I mean, Anthony Davis, I think, was very excited at the beginning, but they did such a poor job of putting talent around him over the his 7 years or so that it just became a very toxic situation. I think the Grizzlies are well on their way to doing a much better job of that with Ja and with Jaren. So I agree with you there. I think it would have taken some guts, and even seeing what I see now, boy, it's still hard for me. If a best case scenario Zion comes off, that's crazy.
If it does, then you. But here's the problem. I mean, not a problem. Here's the other answer to that. If indeed Zion becomes the next LeBron James, which that could happen. But
I mean, that's what I mean. It's tough.
But if Ja is Steph Curry, really, does it matter?
Well, I mean, hopefully, ideally for both teams, there's no wrong answer, and they end up both having great careers, in their own way, doing their own thing, because they're all, in the same division, just a train ride, short flight, whatever away. Rivalry that could be great for decades.
Oh, yeah.
Plus,
Sure
that would be wonderful for us and for everybody. That'd be great. So I hope that's great for everybody. But it just is kind of interesting. You go back and think about what might have been, and it really sucks for the Knicks. Although obviously their actions this week prove that they deserve it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Karma gets you every time. They were right there, but for that one little flip of the ping pong ball, one ball difference, and they're the ones up there with Ja rather than the Grizzlies, and all of this is completely different. So all the luck that the Grizzlies didn't get, all the poor drafting that they've done, a lot of that was kind of swept away. Ja has. I did not think. I mean, again, I've studied him a lot this summer, talked to him a lot. Been around him and his family to some degree. I really did not expect. I knew he'd be good. I really thought he'd be good, but this is beyond anybody's wildest expectation.
This was
for what he's able to do.
This, as you said, was the good luck. But now look, they've made other moves too that turned out to be incredible. Trading up to get Brandon Clark, I mean, that was smart.
Melton, Crowder.
The Melton thing is getting to be looking better and better. I love Crowder. I'm a big Crowder fan. I want to go back to a discussion you guys had just a second ago about taking care of those superstars to keep them for their second contract, which the Pelicans did not do a good job of doing with Anthony Davis. I think our first real test of this will be Giannis, because you can't say Milwaukee hasn't put a great team around him. So if he were to leave, then I don't know.
Hopeless.
I don't know what you do if
it's
you're
hopeless
a small market.
in Smallville.
Yeah, I mean, that's always been the canary in the coal mine potentially for Giannis, and we all have to wait and see. There's no indication at this point that he's leaving or that he wants to leave. He's been. All of his noises have been positive. I think most teams have made the assumption that it's going to be positive. I think, again, this comes back to administration, honestly. Like, if you have an opportunity to win a championship and put a team together that is legitimately competitive year in and year out, it can happen in these small markets, and guys will stay there. I was kind of struck by I was talking to Solomon Hill earlier this week, and one of the things that he said, because I was asking about John Morant and what he's done and kind of his perspective as a veteran. He's played with Rajon Rondo and played with Drew Holiday and played with some really good point guards. So I kind of asked him about, what he's seen with Ja and that sort of thing. And one of the things he told me was, he said, this is the kind of guy that people want to play with. He said, I can see people coming here to play with him because he makes you better. And he was telling a story about him, basically passing Solomon into an open shot. He didn't even know that he had one, and he sort of passed him into it. And he got the ball and said, "Oh, well, I'm open. I guess I better shoot it." And that's the kind of stuff that he has. So, we've never had that. Even Anthony Davis, as much as Anthony Davis is a spectacular player and an all-star, he's not a distributor. He's not the guy that is the engine. Guys necessarily, they play with Anthony Davis, but he's not. It's not like Davis is going to be setting them up. Ja is the kind of guy that can set up a team and can set you up as a player to make your stats and make you look better. You think Dylan Brooks is as good a season as he's had? You think some of that has to do with the fact that he's getting better looks than he's ever had at any point in his career? I mean, that makes a huge difference in your shooting percentage and in the kind of shots that you get. So
and he's been.
We've never had that. I mean, we haven't had anything close to that. And with all due respect to Mike Conley, we haven't had anything close to that.
Just really haven't. And the athletic plays this team makes. I mean, one game is almost a season highlight reel from some years in the past. The dunks, the run outs, and then the shooting from someone like Dylan Brooks. I never saw this coming. After tonight, there will be 33 games left, 14 at home, 19 on the road. If we pencil in 10-4 at home, 6-13 on the road, that lands on 40 and 42. That's firmly in the 8th spot, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 40 and 42 is for sure a playoff team in the West this year with the way things have gone. 100%. I mean, it's now I think that's probably a little high, a little heavy on the home mark. I as much as I think this team has really made a massive step forward. Massive. I mean, think about it. It's crazy to think about. Since Ja Morant came back from his back injury early in December 9th was when he came back from his back injury. The team is 18-8. Okay, 18-8 is about a 58-win pace for an entire regular season. And that's for a third of the season. So that's not a little fluky sample of games. That's a better part of 2 months that you're dealing with. So they're at a 58-win pace, one of the top records in the NBA with a offensive and defensive rating that are both really good. So you're talking about the defense is the one that surprised me. They're in the upper half of the league in defense from that point on, which to pair with a great offense is going to get you somewhere. In the last month or so, they're 11-3. So this could be a 12-win month for them. They're in the top 5 in offense, and I think top 10 in defense over the last month or so. That's an incredible pace. I don't think they can keep that up. I don't think this is a 50-win team. And so to keep up that kind of pace at home would tell you that you'd be a 50-win team. I think they're going to back off of that a little bit. So we'll see. Injuries have kind of crept in a little bit. You've got the suspension tonight, Jaren Jackson, Marko Guduric. That's not going to help.
And they're saying Brandon Clark is doubtful. Yeah. Why is he doubtful? What's the word on that one?
Yeah, Clark. I don't know specifically. I think it was an ankle thing, but he didn't go through shoot around this morning. I know.
I'm disappointed.
And I think he's going to be.
I thought he was going to take on
really
Zion.
Need him, especially without Jaren, you really need him. So this one could be just a loss tonight, just out of pure numbers and lack of personnel. But hopefully their injuries have not been too major, and I don't think this one is major when it comes to Brandon Clark. So the odds are that stuff's going to catch up to him eventually. But really, they've got a nice little lead. So even if it does catch up to them, they got a decent chance at making that playoff. And I think that does impact the trade deadline, at least as it pertains to a guy like Crowder. Not so much Iguodala, obviously, but I think as it pertains to a guy like Crowder, I think your price tag for him goes up now over the next 6 days to where you probably need a late first-round pick if you're going to part with him.
Last thing for Peter Edmiston, you listen to him every morning here. You read him in The Athletic. By the way, I renewed today with The Athletic. My thing was up.
Hey, thank you.
But pay the locksmith bill. And I want everybody to know, he was half price. I got a half price deal today.
Locksmith's not going to be half price, Peter.
Deals. No, that's all right.
He's going to be full fare.
I'm not. I don't get paid by the by each single sub. So, but I do appreciate.
Yeah.
And thank you for noticing that. And I will say that those guys, we there's a lot of good stuff out there.
There is, no question.
I'm a subscriber myself. I don't get mine for free, so I got to pay for mine. But I happily do it because I read a ton of other stuff besides my own.
Here's my question for you, though. I love it that they're trying to do this tribute to Kobe and the All-Star game, and they're doing something different because it's been dumb just to watch them go down and shoot wide open threes and not even defend. But this format is like hard to figure and all this other stuff. I think they should take the page out of what they're doing with the Rising Stars Challenge. Make it the world against the United States. Look, Giannis would be on this team. Jokic, Gobert, Simmons, Luka Doncic, Sabonis, Siakam. Who else is there? If I used them all,
there's one other. There's 8. So yeah, there's one other. You said 7. I believe there's one. I'm trying to remember.
Is Bam Adebayo is not? Is he?
No,
is Embiid? Is Embiid from
Embiid is from Cameroon.
Yeah, that's it. It's Embiid. So it's Embiid. So there's your 8.
That's a lot of bigs.
It's a lot of bigs.
Well,
you got Luka, you got Simmons.
Bring Steve Nash out of retirement.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with this idea that they're doing now. Is not bad. It's slightly complicated and a little weird how they've kind of done it. But in theory, at least, it's not. I think in execution it'll be better when people see it. Especially the part about just having to get 24 points, like whoever add that up, and that's who's going to win that fourth quarter.
So the team that's got the lead gets to 24. The team that's behind would have to go 24 plus whatever it is to equal the other team, right?
Right. Well, yeah. You add 24 to
right. Whatever the deficit.
So
is.
if you're up by 5, then you got to get
29.
24. If you're then you have to get 29 or whatever it may be.
Right.
So yeah, that's cool. That's understandable. That's no problem. I'm okay with that. The All-Star game. Again, I've always said that, and I think I've heard Brett. I've heard you talk about this a lot too. I know, like, it's an exhibition. At the end of the day, like, you could try to make it like in baseball. God knows they tried the thing with the All-Star and the home field advantage.
World Series. Yeah.
It's just it's just an exhibition,
just
man.
Play.
I mean, it just play it, and some sports lend themselves better. Pro Bowl last week. Did anyone care? No, not really.
No. The Pro Bowl is the worst.
Does anyone ever care?
But in the NHL All-Star game's terrible too.
Like, I don't need a whole. I'd like a little more defense, I guess. But there's no motivation to do it. And I think any way to put motivation out there is just going to be kind of fake. Like the times that the All-Star game was great was when there were some natural rivalries, and there are some. You may see a few out there. That's when it gets fun. But otherwise, man, just I like to see lots of fun. I like to see token defense. Just go out there and have some fun with it. I mean, it's the honor to be there, honestly.
We have got to take a quick timeout and move to Joe Theismann, your buddy, your hero, your former hero as a Redskins fan.
Anytime we can talk to a former Washington great, I love talking. And a Super Bowl champion, no less. Absolutely.
Joe's going to join us here in a minute. But Peter, we thank you. Have a great weekend, and I hope you get into your closet.
Me too, buddy. Me too.
Thank you, Peter.
I'm desperate out here.
Bye-bye. That is Peter Admiston. This hour of our show.
I think Peter was with sans trousers during that interview.
I hope not. I don't want to know. Please do not bring that image up. This portion, in fact, this hour is presented by Genesis of Olive Branch. You know those folks in Olive Branch with the best cars on the planet. They are. They are really something. Go test drive one. Go see Chris True. Tell them we sent you. Tell him you want the flexible test drive. He'll know. He'll let you take it for a while. Try the G90 or the G80 or the James Bond car, the G7. G70. I mean, they're just amazing automobiles with all the technology and all the safety and even a button in there that says self-drive. It'll do it. And all the great items, the seat warmers, the seat coolers, the steering wheel warmers, they have it all. Just get down Lamar into Mississippi to Craft Road, and you will be there at Genesis of Olive Branch. Joe Theismann's going to join us in a minute. This is Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Mid-South Power Distributors is your source for all things diesel. Their newly renovated drive-in repair shop is open to the public. Whether it'll be your everyday driver, farm equipment, fleet vehicle, or heavy-duty truck, their ASE-certified technicians will get you back on the road. The on-site dyno is ready to run all the necessary diagnostic testing. From preventative maintenance to complete overhauls, Mid-South Power can handle it all. Stop in today at 3288 Mill Branch Road or call 901-396-0710 and online at mid-southpower.com.
If you're going on vacation, making a college campus visit, or if business takes you out of town, there's just no better place to board your dog than Barks and Recreation, 965 Ruddock Cove between Bud Davis Cadillac and the Blue Plate Cafe in East Memphis. Boarding, daycare, grooming, we have the best of everything at Barks. Indoor-outdoor kennels so your family member can go in and out as they please. Indoor and outdoor play areas. 4 walks a day, group play, and individual attention from the best staff in the Mid-South, which includes an overnight staff to ensure the safety and comfort of your pet 24 hours a day. All reasons to choose Barks and Recreation above all other boarding and daycare facilities. BarksDaycare.com or 509-0909. Check us out and make your reservations now at BarksDaycare.com. If your dog could speak, he'd say Barks.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. Do you have any idea why I never speak the way I am right now? It's because if you're honest, sincere, and knowledgeable, you do not need fast-talking, high-energy, gimmick-promising advertising to get a customer's attention. Speaking of that, how do you think companies can offer huge rebates and giveaways when you use their services or buy their products? By overcharging you in the first place, that's how. Fiveash Roofing doesn't operate that way. It's misleading and dishonest. When I provide a customer with the best products and the best service possible and do it at a fair price, why would I need gimmicks to sell it? Best products, best warranties, and best service possible. That's all we offer. Well, that and financing. Fiveash Roofing, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Ocean and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in, halfway through our show on the Friday before the Super Bowl. We're going to go down later in the day. Eli Savoy will be on Radio Row with Kevin Harlan. We look forward to that. In the meantime, man, it's always a treat for me to talk to my friend Joe Theismann, who, as it turns out, Joe was the very first quarterback ever to wear the number 7 and win a Super Bowl. Joe, how about that? You're the only. You're the first.
I did not know that.
Who needed John
Elway? They can never take away the first.
Elway had to emulate you.
Guys? Who's better than you guys? Nobody.
Joe Theismann, I'm telling you, what a career, what a football life for you. Quite literally, to play under that golden dome in college, one of the iconic figures in all of Americana, both sport and academia, and then to play with the backdrop of the U.S. Capitol, right down East Capitol, when you played at RFK Stadium.
It was both of them were wonderful places to play. Having a chance to be at the university and get a degree from there, and then also spending 3 years in Toronto. I loved my time up in the Canadian Football League. Enjoyed the people. Enjoyed living up there. Matter of fact, I would have stayed had they made me a fair offer in 1974. I probably would have stayed another 3 years in the Canadian League. As it worked out, George Allen traded a number 1 pick to Miami for my rights, and I came back to the United States, and then it was an interesting career. Started as a punt returner, and then wound up playing and finishing it, I guess you could say, at the top of the mountain when we won the World Championship in '82. And it's great being down here around the Super Bowl, too.
And you're there every year. You know what? It really worked out for you because your life doesn't suck now either. I mean, how many speeches? How many speeches do you make a year? I know you're going from the Super Bowl in Miami to Park City, and I'm hoping you're going to spend some time with family and do a little skiing or something. But it's a good life for Joe Theismann.
I don't ski. I can find ways to hurt myself without going out on a mountain and doing it purposely. There's other ways to do it, like hitting a golf ball and letting it come back at you when you hit a tree, Wolo. But anyway, it's wonderful being able to share the stories. The book I wrote comes out in June called "How to Be a Champion Every Day." So we'll talk about that, I think, down the road.
Okay, we will for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and then get to spend time with the kids, the grandkids, and Robbie. So yeah, I mean, every day is a wonderful adventure.
And Joe, your style of play, and coming out of the Canadian Football League, but the scrambling RPO kind of sandlot football,
run or throw,
you're made for today's game.
Yeah, I if I had an arm and I could run, I might be able to do that. Oh, look who just walked in, Tim Brown. Hi, Tim. How are you?
Another Notre Dame.
Doing a radio show down in Memphis, Tennessee. Here, hold on a second, Tim. Tim wants to say hi. How you doing?
Hey.
Good to see you. You too.
Hey, Tim Brown.
He's got his gold jacket on.
Hey, Heisman
He's
Trophy
got his
winner.
gold jacket on. Yep. Anyway, whatever you were saying, I say yes to.
Okay, that's good. All right, let's talk a little bit about this game while we got you. And it starts with that quarterback, and it's the kind of guy, as he just said, the prototype, a guy who can run, but a guy who can also throw, and he can throw.
Pat Mahomes, Joe Theismann, and Pat Mahomes.
To me,
well, you say it could play in, to play in this era. I mean, it's just amazing. You look at a guy like Kyler Murray, a little guy like that. I think you struggle when you're at a certain height at this level because the guys are so big. And certainly, I was the one that had a lot of mobility and moved around an awful lot, but. You look at Patrick, you look at Lamar Jackson, these guys take it to another level, especially Mahomes. Mahomes is just fun to watch. He's exciting. He's now becoming the new fast face of the franchise, of the NFL franchise. Mm-hmm. And I think it's exciting. And people will say, now everybody's going to look for a Patrick Mahomes. Truth of the matter is, you don't find him. You just don't find Patrick Mahomes laying around everywhere. Kansas City did a great job developing him. Alex Smith spent a year with him, and he credits Alex an awful lot with his development. And, of course, Andy Reid has just done a great job so many places. I mean, how can you not root for Andy? It's like Santa Claus. He's just a wonderful man and did a great job taking Philly to a Super Bowl, and now he's got Kansas City in one.
We're talking about the type of quarterback, and I'm with you. I think if I were like a commodity, and we're going into the futures, he'd be the guy that I think is going to be the face of the NFL. He's the new Tom Brady. But this type of quarterback, you can go to Russell Wilson, you can go to Deshaun Watson, you can go to Lamar Jackson, and, of course, this guy. I mean, that's really the way the game's being played now. And I do wonder a little bit because a guy that wore your uniform, RG3, he didn't last doing that. I think these guys are a little smarter about it. They throw the ball more.
Well, Cam Newton got beat up pretty bad too.
Yeah.
Down in Carolina. Robert wound up getting hurt and sort of sidetracked his career. Didn't give him a chance to develop. Guys are they take care of themselves when they run. They don't take unnecessary hits. And I think that's the big thing is you have to figure out a way to protect yourself. You can't count on officials to do it. Which, by the way, I hope and we always pray that the officials don't determine the outcome of a football game, especially this one. And I think they'll let them play. But, these are the kind of guys that they run out of bounds, they slide, they protect themselves. And that's what you have to do if you want to have any kind of a career that's got some length to it.
As you look at this game, it's so hard to pick. The line is really close. We all know that. How do you break it down?
I've always believed that defense wins championships. And then the obvious situation would be San Francisco because of the greatness of their defense. But you saw what Kansas City did last week or 2 weeks ago against Tennessee. They shut down the running game. I believe Kyle Shanahan, who's the coach of the 49ers, will want to run the football. That's who they are. That's what they'd like to do. I don't think they want to put the ball on Jimmy Garoppolo's shoulders to throw the ball 35 times in this game. Now, on the other hand, Andy Reid loves to throw the ball. He'll throw it 65, 70% of the time if he has to, and he has the trigger man to do it. I think that this game boils down to how well Kansas City's defense is able to shut down or slow down San Francisco's running game. We know we're going to talk about the quarterbacks. We know we talk about the speed and all that stuff, but this one goes into the trenches. This is San Francisco's defense getting pressure on Patrick Mahomes. It's Kansas City's defense making Jimmy Garoppolo throw the football.
You've been to so many of these things. Does the hype get bigger and bigger, or have we sort of leveled off?
Well, I don't know if they can fit any more radio stations into Radio Row. That's sort of a gauge for me of how big this game has gotten. Certainly from a media standpoint, it continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's all over the world. The World Cup is observed in a lot of places. The Super Bowl seems to be bigger than that, if you can imagine it. So I think it can get bigger from a media standpoint. As far as the fans go, a lot of the people here are part of corporations. They haven't necessarily chosen a side. So you're going to get Chief fans, you're going to get 49er fans. 49er fans have to travel a long way to get here. Basically, so do the Chiefs here in Miami fans. So it's going to be somewhat of a corporate event, but it's still the Super Bowl. I mean, this is my 37th.
Wow.
Since I've been going to them, and they've gotten bigger and bigger, and we've seen the personalities roll through, and that's been exciting. The games they hinge on one decision or one play. And I mean, 2 years ago, Atlanta looked like they wrapped it up in fine fashion. All of a sudden, they wind up losing a football game. Last year, the Rams had opportunities to be able to make plays, and New England managed to do it again. And I don't think Tom Brady's done, by the way. I think Tom probably will want to take one more shot, one more bite at the apple in New England. That's where I think he'll be.
You think he will stay in New England?
I do. I really do.
Joe, a lot of people talk about in golf when they win a U.S. Open, you'll take one anywhere. But if you win one at Pebble Beach or at Marion or Shinnecock, some Winged Foot maybe even, it almost feels like it counts double. For you, not only winning a Super Bowl, but winning it at the storied Rose Bowl.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is where you play. You're right. I mean, it's there's historic stadiums, but now with the Super Bowl as an example, you've got all the new stadiums. Vegas will be coming up soon. Los Angeles will be coming up with new venues. We saw it in Minnesota a few years back. Miami's refurbished theirs.
Atlanta last year.
Atlanta last year. Tampa will be the next one coming up. So when it has a lot to do with the venue, but really in golf, it's, you've got to get the ball in the hole. No matter what they call the place, you still have to be able to play
wins.
the game and execute. That's right. And it's the same thing. And in football, it's iconic to be in a certain building, but the most important thing is that you have more points than the other guys at the end.
Have you seen by any chance on your travels the new one in Vegas or the new stadium in LA and how that might compare to the best one I've seen, which I just saw recently for the first time, Jerry's World in Dallas, where the Tigers got to play in the Cotton Bowl, and I can't imagine a better facility than that. But I the one in LA I think is going to cost $5 billion.
Yeah, if it's costing $5 billion, it's going to be pretty darn unbelievable. And about a billion and a half of that is in earthquake prevention. The Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta is a beautiful facility. Incredible the way the roof opens down there, and it's just a mechanized puzzle. I've been to Vegas. Vegas is going to be black all the way around it. I mean, that's going to be quite a facility. I've gone through and looked at the prototypes regarding that stadium. And, there's different places that have to start to consider it. I think the Redskins in 8 to 10 years, when the lease runs out, Kansas City has a lease that's up in maybe 10, 11 years. So we're going to continue to see new ones as they move along, and they will wind up with Super Bowls. You can't beat the Phoenixes and when they used to be in San Diego or in Los Angeles when we played. Warm weather places, Tampa, New Orleans. There's so much to do outside. I think you get to the colder cities, Minneapolis. I don't believe there'll be another one in New York. I think they're rolling the dice trying to do that and got lucky. But it's no matter where it is, Super Bowl Sunday is unbelievable.
Joe, in Washington, just 1 year in, What do you think after 1 year do they really have with Dwayne Haskins?
We don't know yet. I think that's something we have to see. This will be the third system for the young man. What's going to be around him? How well they're going to play around him? Those are questions. You've heard me say this umpteen times. The quarterback position is the single most dependent position on the field. So what is Ron Rivera and the organization, what are they going to put around Dwayne? Again, he's got a new system to learn. I like the way he throws the football. He's a big kid, smart kid, tough kid. He wants to win. He wants to learn. Those are all things that are big pluses. Now it's a question of, can you execute? There's a difference between the want and the will and the ability to do it.
You mentioned a little earlier San Diego as a great warm weather spot, and the commissioner spoke about playing 4 games again in Mexico City. Those would be 2 cities you could think about expansion. Do you think the league will get any bigger?
No, I don't. I think it's difficult. I just can't see. If you add a 33rd team, it just messes up the divisions completely. It totally screws everything up. And where would you put another team in the United States?
San Diego.
Well, but the Rams would fight that. They might fight that again. And then you've got two in the Los Angeles area. You think you'd put one down in San Diego? I just don't see it. They'd still have to commit to a huge amount of money, which they weren't willing to do before, to build a new venue so that you could get them in there. I think we're pretty set at 32 right now. Yeah, I believe they're going to push for 17 games.
Well, that's my next question for you. And as a player, what do you think about that?
Hey, I'd play 20. I mean, you do in a Super Bowl year, you play close to 20. I think it's going to be tough to get it through the players. Here's the thing. If you're going to go to 17 games, you have to increase the roster sizes. You can't dress 46 on a game day because guys are going out on concussion protocol. So you didn't have that before when you had a roster size of 46. You need to dress a minimum of 50 players if you're going to go to 17 games. If you're going to add a game, then you need to put more guys on the field. That's just common sense.
Yeah, if you did that, and let's say do add a 17th game, but what about taking away a couple of exhibition games? How many exhibition games do you need?
I think you need at least a couple. Well, first of all, the vets don't play in the first one, and they don't play in the last one. So how are you going to evaluate? And it's a great question. How are you going to evaluate free agents and rookies if they don't actually play in a football game before they make your football team? How do I put you on my roster if I have no idea how good you are? How do I do that?
All those scrimmages.
It's a crapshoot. It's purely a crapshoot. And you've got too much money invested in these guys to say, okay, I'm going to put you out here having watched a half out of you. So I think 3 to me is still a good number. I still think you need to play preseason games just to be able to evaluate the people you want on your roster. The last 4 years for the Washington Redskins, because I've done all the preseason games the last 7 years or 8 years, what happens is in the last game of the season, one guy showed up and made our football team. Steven Sims Jr. this past year returned 2 kicks, average of about 40 yards, and he managed to make the roster. Then he was on the practice squad for a little bit, and then all of a sudden he started playing. But without that 4th preseason game, we would have never been able to identify him. So I think you have to have them. You just can't walk into the season without ever evaluating somebody. You don't really learn about guys a lot in training camp because, first of all, they don't put pads on in training camp, so they don't hit one another. So you don't know how tough somebody is. You don't know if they can handle the pounding. It would be like a video game, and you'd be guessing. There's so many reasons I think that would go against eliminating preseason.
He's Joe Theismann. You've watched him, you've heard him, and now you're going to read him. So when you get this new book out, we will put you back on for sure.
I appreciate that. Well, I'll be on before that, and I'll see you before that anyway. Well,
okay. So, we'll see each other.
We'll head out to Miramichi.
You got it.
See Freddie when it opens up, and then you can make some more donations to the Robin Theismann remodeling fund.
We'll see about that one, my friend. We shall see.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay, buddy. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That is Joe Theismann. We've got to take a time out before we go anywhere. We want to give away some barbecue, and then when we come back, we're going to make our Super Bowl predictions. So
360-8255 at the First Bank phone line, 360-8255. Get in line now for a six-pack of barbecue from the Germantown or Collierville Commissary for your big game party on Sunday. This will be the 11th time the Super Bowl's been in Miami, so 10 others. 7 of those 10, the eventual MVP, was a quarterback. Name one of the 3 non-quarterbacks to be MVP of a Super Bowl in Miami.
One of the 3 non-quarterbacks who played in a Super Bowl in Miami that won it. So you got 3 chances. Just name one, and you got a 6-pack to the commissary. I'll tell you more about that in a second. We got to take the timeout as you listen to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Sports 56 mornings with Peter Edmiston and CJ Hertz. Weekdays from 7 to 10. Only on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together. So the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Hey everybody, what's the best new thing to kick off 2020? A new All-Star Chevrolet. You cannot believe all the zero finance deals and cash back on the new 2019s and new 2020s. 0 for 72 on most new All-Star Chevy Silverados, 2019 or 2020s. Plus, you get thousands off MSRP in bonus earnings when you finance with GM. Every Silverado truck you're looking for is at All-Star Chevrolet right now. So if you're ready to kick off 2020 in your new Chevy, head to Olive Branch this week. Not the Pike, not South Haven, not Mount Moriah or Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch, people. And everybody at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch has one job: to make sure you get a better deal that's more fun and enjoyable and in record time. And be sure to ask about all the deals on the new Blazers and Traverses. So find new roads to All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch today or check out allstarautogroup.com.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know: Benswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 125 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Benswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Benswanger Glass in Midtown, located at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit their website, benswangerglass.com. Benswanger Glass.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
We make our Super Bowl picks in a minute, but first, we got to give away some Q from the commissary, but either the Germantown or the Collierville commissary, your choice. And it's your choice. If you're picking up for the big game, though, you know, and I love that little place, that quaint place. I like to eat in at the store in Germantown, but if I'm in a hurry and I want to get some Q and I'm going somewhere,
just sail through that drive-thru.
I'm going right through the drive-thru at Poplar and Houston Levy Road. Absolutely. And if I want to go in and I got a lot of people, and sometimes you got to wait at the one in Germantown. You don't have to wait that long in Collierville because they got triple the space. This would be a good place to go watch the game on Sunday.
Sure would be.
Outside on the patio.
Go watch the Grizzlies tonight.
You can do that. Well, it's a little rainy out there. On the patio on Sunday, though, when it's 60 degrees and sunny, be a nice place to go. At least watch the pregame show. Oh, my goodness. You can't beat the Germantown Commissary. And somebody's about to get a six-pack from either Germantown or Collierville Commissary. The answer is simple. There's 3 guys. You name one that were non-quarterbacks.
And one is very distinctive from the other 2.
We'll start with John.
Hey, John.
Hello?
Yes. You know the answer?
I'm just going to take a wild guess and say Lynn Swan.
Lynn Swan was the second one. Very good.
Wow.
Very good. The first one was Chuck Howley, the only player to win on a defeated team and the first defensive player to ever be MVP of the Super Bowl. Then Lynn Swan, and then Jerry Rice. You knew Jerry Rice would get involved.
I just had to think quick and call you guys to get in line.
Well, you did a great job.
Very good, John.
And it was a good guess.
Who's winning the game Sunday?
Kansas City.
Okay.
I'm going to put you on hold, and you'll check in with Drew, and you've got a 6-pack of the great commissary, either Germantown or Collierville.
Our pick time.
Your pick. Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Since you're the leader in the clubhouse and you've won on points, you can't blow it on points.
Right.
We can end up flat-foot tie on just picks.
Well, I'll go first,
You
and
go
that way
first.
you have your choice.
I'm not going to do that.
I'm just going to throw it out there so you know. I've said all along, I think this game is the toughest one that I can remember in a long time to pick. I've loved San Francisco. I love teams that can defend and can run the football. That's kind of the way my Bears always have done it. But in this particular case, I think there's a special quarterback, and I think he will be the face of the league, as Joe Theismann said. I think I've watched him come back and score, 51 points in a row? I've watched this guy come back twice from 10-point deficits against the Titans. He finds ways to win. They have gotten better on defense, and they did stop the run. They can stop this run, too, I think. I think it'll be close, but in the end, I think Mahomes is going to pull it out. I think he's going to do what Montana used to do for San Francisco.
Score.
I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm going to say 24-21.
Good game. Drew?
I can't believe Dave's turning his back on Jimmy G like that. Just has rode him all the way to the biggest stage in sports. Made him. Claims to have made him.
Maybe
now he's
Drew,
going to ditch him to the side of the road.
Drew, this might be where your problem is, where you finish last in all these pick'em things. It's the name of the name of the game is to win. It's not to go, I like that city, so I'm going with that city. I like that guy. It's
if he can throw the Bears
you're supposed to win.
Overboard.
Man, I didn't know Dave was coming in
Went
with
indeed,
daggers
didn't he?
here.
Went
Man, straight
indeed.
savage on me.
Yeah.
I'm going to be I'll do like Dave's pick. I'm going to take Kansas City. I think when you get to a stage like this, experience and the best quarterbacks normally always win, and the experience and the best is Patrick Mahomes.
And the score?
28-24.
So both of y'all are under the posted total of 54.5. I'm for Kansas City, but I'm picking San Francisco. I think the old tenets of football, of running the ball and stopping the run, will come into play. They have to play keep away. And we've talked about the biggest story, the biggest win, the moment in 49ers history. It was 28-27 the catch. 49ers, 28-27.
Oh, you're going with the same score.
And it gets half point over the total and give me a point and a half. Y'all are laying a point and a half. It's not much. I get a point and a half. But I'll take the 49ers. I don't care who wins. I'm fine if Kansas City wins.
You said the over is 55.5?
54.5.
Oh, 54.5. So you're going 1.5 point over. Okay.
Barely getting to the over.
Okay.
If you're betting the over and I'm right, you're sweating it. Joe Theismann played in a Super Bowl that they lost 38-9. I didn't want to bring it up to him. So 47 points over was the total. The over and under was 47.5. They missed the extra point. Joe, I had the over.
Oh.
The Redskins missed the extra point.
He didn't miss that.
No, he didn't.
He got him in position to get it. All three of us have a good game, though. You've got it separated by 1.
I want a classic.
I've got it separated by 3. You got it separated by 4. That's a good football game right there, by our projections. We take second hour timeout here. When we come back, it's hour number 3, and we will talk NBA with our friend Andy Schiffman, our agent down in Chicago. Don't go anywhere. This is Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered. And they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant, the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. On Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
The lights are on, the games have started, and now you can place your bets at the casino that's closest to Memphis. Southland Casino. Regular season and postseason. Tournaments and playoffs. Championships and finals. The biggest games are at the best spot to place your bets. Southland. Plus, big screens, great bites, and cold brews. Come make your sports bets now at Southland Casino. Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. Can anyone explain to me why anyone would care how I measure your roof? We have all heard about measuring your roof from outer space. Well, to be honest, there are aerial pictures that are taken every 4 years that can be used to measure a building, but it's not from outer space. Besides, no one, and I mean no one, can tell you what's wrong with your roof or even if you need one by using pictures that might be 4 years old. If you would rather do business with a family-owned and operated business with a lifelong tie to Memphis that refuses to mislead or use gimmicks, please give me a call. Best products, best warranties, and the best customer service we know how to provide. Fiveash Roofing, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Now, this is the way to ring in the new year.
Sweetgrass is amazing food and all kinds of games to watch.
Since Sweetgrass changed the layout, now we can enjoy all the meaningful NFL games and enjoy our favorite menu in Midtown.
You're not the only one that used to sneak over to next door to check the scores.
It's true. I think you did it more than I did.
Well, I have a lot of favorite teams.
And I have a lot of favorite Sweetgrass foods.
Now we have the best of both worlds. Great Sweetgrass food and plenty of TVs to watch sports.
Everything we always loved now in one place. Sweetgrass, right here in the heart of Cooper Young.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also keep up to date with everything going on by keeping up with Sports 56 on social media. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch for information on breaking news, chances to win prizes, and video of all the shows. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Stay in touch with Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 on social media. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Final hour of a fun week. You kind of scared me with that rejoin point there, Drew. Thank you. Final hour of a fun week. We started every Friday afternoon with Andy Schiffman talking the NBA, and one of his players that's had a great year, has had a real accolade this week in Brandon Clark, but also notable absence tonight potentially for the Grizzlies. This hour every day brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. They specialize in late model cars, low mileage. All the cars checked out head to toe, bumper to bumper, and all test-driven, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. If by some chance, and I mean the off chance that they don't have it on the lot, they'll go find it for you at DeSoto Auto Sales, where you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees with a laid-back, down-home environment, no high-pressure sales, and they care about your time and want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. Walk in within 45 minutes, test drive your car, get credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're gone in your new car. Visit them online at DeSotoAutoSales.com or go by 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales on Goodman Road.
Every Friday in this time slot during the NBA season, which goes on and on for a long, long time, our friend from Chicago, Andy
We missed
Schiffman.
him last week.
We do. He was ill last week. He's not ill now, and I'm sure if he was still feeling any kind of down, he's up today because his client, Brandon Clark, was named to the Rising Stars Challenge team along with Ja and Jaren Jackson Jr. Andy Schiffman, congratulations to your client.
Appreciate it, guys. Very happy to be back on the show. Recovered from the flu, and even happier for my guy BC. Well-deserved. He'll be in the Rising Stars game that Friday of All-Star Weekend up here in Chicago. So definitely a well-deserved accolade for him, and it looks great for the city of Memphis to have all this young core represented that weekend. But definitely very happy for Brandon.
We do talk some business with you on this, and you don't have to get too specific, but does a guy like Brandon Clark get anything for making that game from the league? And did he have any kind of clauses in his contract for bonuses?
Nothing in terms of his bonuses because it's a rookie deal, it's a first-round pick, and everything is very boilerplate. Nothing can really be negotiated on top of that. Now, however, there are, bonuses built within different shoe deals, trading card bonuses for trading card deals, et cetera, that we have been able to negotiate on his behalf as well.
That is good, and you're right. So many of the rookie deals now, it's cut and dried. It's really slotted around the league. And I didn't mind it when it came in, Andy, that you're gonna reward the guys actually after they have done something, but at the top of the draft you still get the bigger money. This week the news of going forward next year's salary allotment, it's going to be a little bit less, and I don't want to drag you into the China issue in the broad, but in the narrow it has hurt, hasn't it?
I mean, marginally. I think the perception has hurt more than the actual finances on the books. And I think they said the cap was coming in. It's $105 million in a couple of years. It's supposed to be was going to be 109 109 now. It's going to be a little lower, but it's still higher than critics, I would say, or media people thought it would come in at after everything happened with the China discrepancy and the altercation between Daryl Morey sending out that tweet at the beginning of the season, et cetera, because it definitely gave a little bit of a black eye to the league in terms of their market and their excitement and popularity within China, which is, look, it's China. You got the most amount of people in the world there, huge market for NBA basketball, tons of NBA fans there. It is a number one consumer in the sport of professional basketball. So me as an agent, though, I'm a little bit relieved to know that it really has not taken such a significant hit, at least as of now. Now, these are all projections. The official salary cap numbers won't be released until July of 2020 after the NBA conducts its audit like it does every July. So we'll truly know then, but definitely has a lot of people positive with this encouraging news that came out this week.
I'm curious with the Ja getting on this team and not making the All-Star game.
Yep.
Do you think that was a snub? And I know a lot of people in Memphis are thinking that. Come on, we're fans, we're homers. I get that part. I look at the list of Western Conference subs, and I'm not sure who you take off. So I don't think he got a snub.
I don't either.
I agree, Dave. I think it's just a product of there being a limit on the number of players in the All-Star game. I mean, you look at guys like Damian Lillard, Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, three of the guards and the reserves in the West. You really you can't convince me you should take any of those guys off. But the flip side of it, you can convince me Ja Morant has played at an all-star level. Obviously one of our guys that we feel absolutely was snubbed was Bradley Beal for the Eastern Reserves, and he's having a heck of a season. And so we had a conversation today here in the office amongst our staff, and even I had it with a few players too. What direction is the league going in? Do they want to send a message that we're rewarding the winning teams and we're rewarding players on winning teams with all-star selections? And I'm not taking anything away from these guys, but the Milwaukee Bucks, 2 all-stars in Giannis and Chris Middleton. The Pacers have Domas Sabonis, definitely a good player. For me, in my opinion, not to shift the whole conversation to Bradley Beal, but Bradley Beal is on another stratosphere compared to those two guys, yet he's playing for the Wizards, who have 16 wins that are definitely out of the playoffs. And, the flip side of it, you've got the Rising Stars game where you've got a guy in Zion Williamson that's played 4 NBA games. He makes it. Then you got a guy, let's say, for example, Michael Porter Jr., that missed all of last year with the back injury. He's been playing now for the better part of half of this season already, and he doesn't make it. And he's putting up just as impressive numbers on a winning team. So I don't really think the league has a clear direction in what message they're sending to say, you know what, we're going to reward individual performances, or you know what, it's really more about how valuable you are for your team. In my opinion, that's what the MVP award is reserved for, how valuable you are for your team. The accolade of being named an all-star or a rising star should be solely based on individual performances. And I think there are players that did not make it that absolutely could be in the conversation, like a Devin Booker, Karl Anthony Towns. You mentioned Ja Morant. But who do you cut out? That's the thing.
That is the thing. And let me play devil's advocate. First of all, the Zion thing is simple. When ESPN.com is leading at their primetime 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock Eastern ESPN.com headline the day after he plays in his first game, where it says the coach says he's not sore. You understand the 5 W's are who, what, where, when, and why.
Right.
So he's a who. He's a big who. And the fact that he's coming to this thing means that television will be there and there'll be more eyeballs
100%.
Watching. And so
I get it from an optics standpoint. I get that. And not to cut you off, I completely understand the business side of it.
All right. So let's get to the Bradley Beal side of it. Now, Bradley's must be one of your clients.
Mm-hmm.
But here's my argument with Bradley Beal, and I've got nothing against Bradley. I didn't like his reaction, honestly. I know he got some pub because he said it that he got disrespected.
I would love to see him with all that Grizzlies cap space someday here in Memphis. That's all
you
I'm
and me
going
both.
Well, he's a terrific player, but here's the thing that I would say to you is if Chris Middleton is the guy that you're referring to, that he sort of gets edged out, that guy's he's putting up numbers, maybe not as good as Bradley, but he's putting up good numbers on a winning team where other people are putting up numbers. Bradley is getting big numbers on a bad team, and the other guy that used to be on that team with him, John Wall's not playing this year because of injury, so he's getting more numbers. Now, those, to me, big numbers on bad teams aren't as good as good numbers. If let's say it's great numbers on a bad team, aren't as good numbers on a winning team because they're sharing the wealth.
True, but no, I don't disagree with any of that. But here's my counter to that, Dave. You got a guy like Chris Middleton. Look, he's averaging 20 points a game. Last game he had 51 points against the Wizards the other night. He's having a very, very good season, shooting close to 40% from three. But if you're take this into account too. He's on a winning team in the Eastern Conference, and he's playing alongside Giannis, who is one of the elite level top players in the NBA. So when these defenses go out, the number one option they're game planning for is Giannis. Where in the Wizards, the number one / only option these teams are game planning for is Bradley Beal. So you're facing the same defense that the Bucks are facing, yet you've got a target on your back. Where Middleton, he's a very good player. He doesn't have that same pressure to perform as if the whole weight of the world and the weight of the team is on his shoulder because you've got Giannis. So not to take anything away from Middleton, I just think it's a different perspective that you can bring into the conversation to look at, true, what Bradley is doing is not as impressive maybe because his team isn't winning, but he's also facing much tougher defensive schemes and opponents because they really only have to game plan for Bradley.
I do think, though, when he scored those 51 the other night, Giannis wasn't in the game.
But, obviously, bigger picture is my point.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah.
Dave brought this up about an hour ago when we were visiting with Peter Edmiston from our station and from The Athletic. And it's a really good litmus test going forward, Andy. And I can't stand, I could not stand if I were only a dues payer at the club and not a real member. And I bring this up for Smallville. If Giannis doesn't return to the Bucks, man, it should send shockwaves through all of us in Smallville and especially here in Memphis on keeping Ja and Jaren. If he doesn't stay with Milwaukee, then it's hopeless as Smallville, and we're just a dues payer and not a real member of the club.
Sure. I mean, it's a tough thing to think of you as, look, we're an organization that drafts well, and we develop these young players into stars for them to leave 4 years after we draft them. It happens. I mean, these players are allowed to do that.
We're
now,
the Tampa Bay Rays.
Exactly. I mean, look, now the NBA obviously would love to sit there and say their rules protect against that by giving the home team, the team that has drafted them, that has groomed them, the first 4 or 5 years they're in the league, the ability to pay more than what any other team can pay. But at the end of the day, when you're making that much money, the difference is marginal, and you can sit there and now say, I'm going to supplement all of this, NBA salary with marketing income or shoe deals or TV deals in a big market like
dollars,
LA. You're right, endorsement dollars like Miami, LA, New York, et cetera. So it's definitely difficult. And I think, I was thinking about this the other day and how rare it is. Now, granted, he played in LA for his entire career, but, obviously with Kobe and everything that's come out this week and just all the stories you're hearing, I really haven't seen many people talk about, on top of everything that Kobe represented and stood for, how about the fact that he played in a time where player mobility is at its highest? You've got guys around the NBA just jumping from one team to the next because that gives them the best opportunity to win or gives them the most money. Kobe stuck with one team. Now, I understand it's a big market, and I understand there's value in that in the Lakers, but he stuck with one team throughout his entire career, and they weren't they weren't championship contenders every single year of his career. And I'm sure he had multiple opportunities to demand a trade, to go elsewhere in free agency, and the guy didn't. So, I mean, I think that in and of itself deserves a ton of respect for kind of what he stood for. And then meanwhile, you look up today, and you got the LeBrons of the world and everyone just jumping ship and chasing the dollar. And, all right, well, I did my work here. Let me go here now. Let me go here. And look, I don't think that's bad per se because I'm all 110% pro player. That is, the league is set up for players to take advantage of movement. They're able to do that. They're allowed to do that. I understand why it upsets a lot of fans. These fans want the same loyalty that they express towards these players, but at the end of the day, it's freedom of movement, and players are allowed to take advantage of this.
That's right.
I agree with that, and your point's well taken on Kobe. The thing that makes the Milwaukee situation with Giannis so critical, I think, if you're a small market and you're really looking to see the way the trends are going to go, is, and let's use Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis left New Orleans because New Orleans didn't put any talent around him where he had a chance to win, and the guy wants to win. And then now he's got the big market calling. He's got
Chris
big
Paul
brother LeBron James saying, come on, man, I'm going to bring you a lot of money and a title. But in Milwaukee, they got the best record in the league. They have put good players around Giannis. If he leaves,
a new building,
he's leaving.
What hope do any of the other organizations have?
Because he's
done
leaving.
Everything he could possibly do to cater to this superstar.
Yeah, well, he's got the winningest team. He's in a new building, and they can pay him more money.
Good guy, coach.
Yep, and I think too, if you're honest, you look at where else am I going to go? Am I going to go to a city like New York, and it might be a great big market, but basically start over? Or am I going to go to a Golden State when they're healthy? We all know how good they can be. Go to the Lakers, let's say, and it's just I'm going to be one of another handful of studs and superstars. Or am I going to continue in the path that I'm on and continue to reap the fruits of my labor and everything that we've built here in Milwaukee over the last few years since I've came into the league? So, I mean, that's a loaded question that I just asked. Obviously, from my tone, what I would suggest, but they're really, like you said, Dave, there's really not much to be lacking what you have in Milwaukee other than just, do you want to be in a bigger market for your overall brand? And that is something that is very important to players, especially to the top 5% of the NBA superstars in the league today, building your brand. And they want to go have this global reach. But, again, Giannis is an international player. He already has a global reach.
Andy, we were talking about the draft earlier, and we know the names at the top of it will be James Wiseman, Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball, maybe Obi Toppin. Last night, I watched Nico Mannion in Arizona last night, and he's fun to watch play, but I don't know how many needles he moves. Are there some other names out there that we will be more familiar with as the college basketball season plows on and as we get closer to late June in the draft?
Sure. Well, I think Nico Mannion is absolutely one to watch.
For sure.
Because he's a great young point guard playing for Arizona, and he will, at the end of the day, more than likely be a lottery pick. Iowa State, you're going to see a player, Tyrese Halliburton, rise in the process and probably also be a top 10 pick. And I know a lot of people aren't sitting there watching Iowa State, but he's an absolute stud. So he's a player to watch. And then as you kind of move in past these top 6 or 7 picks, and you just kind of start wondering who a lot of these guys are. I mean, they're players from well-recognized big teams. There's Cassius Winston, for example, from Michigan State. Later in the draft, you might see a guy, Marcus Howard, who's leading the NCAA in scoring, who's a smaller point guard, which definitely works against him to try and be a first-round pick. But again, I've said it before, this draft is relatively weak, so you will have players that might not be locked first-rounders and then the other draft work their way into the first round, or other players that might be fringe draftable players that find themselves being drafted. So I'm excited for March to come, and it's obviously the NCAA tournament. You'll see a lot of young talent. There's a couple players actually. So one kid at Auburn who has turned a lot of heads, a super, super athletic kid, Isaac, I think his last name is Ochuro, athletic wing, young kid from Auburn. He could absolutely end up being a lottery pick when it's all said and done. Big kid from Minnesota that people really probably don't know a whole lot about because most people aren't sitting there watching Minnesota unless you're watching Big Ten basketball all the time, is Daniel Oturu. Mm-hmm. He's been having some monster games, putting up great numbers, 20 points a game, 11 rebounds a game. And so I think you'll see some of these players kind of who really aren't from perennial, notable top 10 programs rise throughout the process. And then you'll see when you get through the pre-draft process and you get through the NBA draft combine, now all these top players from schools that you might have really never paid much attention to this season, they're out of that college system, and now they're playing for themselves, and they're able to kind of unleash and show what they can do with more space that the NBA provides them. And that's when really players kind of start to rise up, and you say, wait a minute, I never heard of this guy before. Now he's, being drafted in top 15. Why is that the case? So you'll definitely see more names crop up as the college basketball season continues. Memphis obviously is interesting. I know they've been underachieving by a lot of thresholds based on the record and some of the losses recently since James, obviously Wiseman is no longer there. But Precious Achiuwa has solidified himself as a top 20 pick, maybe even a top 10 pick when it's all said and done. I think right now it's too early to earmark him as for sure he's going to be in the top 10 or top 15, but he's definitely solidified himself as a very high pick. And then down the road, I don't think he's quite ready yet, DJ Jeffries. There are a lot of teams that I've spoken with that do like DJ, probably for potentially next year, not so much this year. And again, from my standpoint as an agent, I'm always very particular in giving the right advice. And specifically for a kid like DJ Jeffries, there are absolutely people in his ear telling him he should leave. There are agents in his ear and in his family's ears telling him, same thing that Wiseman went through. Now's the right time to leave. What good to stay in there, do you? You can go and, be drafted in the first round. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what agents think. Agents don't pick the teams on draft night. It only matters what NBA decision makers think, and you have to take all that information into account, listen to your family, listen to your coaches. But kids oftentimes, and I know we're getting way off topic here, but kids oftentimes forget, the NBA is not going anywhere.
That's right.
So go back to school, get a free education for another year, develop physically, develop mentally, continue to develop your skill set, and be that much more ready for the NBA a year later. And all of a sudden, a year flies by, and you've solidified yourself with some guaranteed money now to be a first-round draft pick or even better.
If DJ were to try to go? Where do you think he'd get drafted? Would he be a first-round pick?
I do not believe so. I believe if he were to leave this year, Dave, he'd be in that 45 to undrafted range. I think someone could pick him late in the second round and say, this is a heck of a prospect. We can stick him overseas. We can have him on a two-way contract. We can have him develop in the G League. But why do that when you can absolutely solidify yourself as a first-rounder a year from now?
I agree.
It's going to be his team next year.
I agree.
And you got to get to Starkville for Reggie Perry. Y'all got to get in front of him.
Yeah.
Yep. That's another name we've talked about.
Yeah,
yep.
He's a good player. All right, I got to ask you about Marcus Howard. And sometimes you can wait too long. At least that seems to be the more modern argument. He's a small guy, so people are hesitant. I think he can score. I mean, he's fun to watch. But he's a fourth-year guy, right? I mean, so it's almost like if you're a fourth-year guy now, you don't have a chance.
It's definitely tough. You don't see too many four-year guys, Dave, being drafted in the first round. You definitely will see some. Now, are there many 5'10", 5'11" guys being drafted in general? No. But I think the thing with Marcus is, like, you could make the argument, well, why would he have stayed at Marquette all 4 years when he could have potentially left last year? But staying versus leaving for a guy like that who has his size working against him, we're talking about a 5'11", pure scoring point guard as opposed to that playmaking, facilitating point guard like a John Morant is. They're really not going to move the needle that much one way or the other by staying or leaving.
That's right.
If he were to leave last year,
that's right.
If he were to leave last year, he would have probably been maybe a second-round pick. You know, he was in the conversation a lot with one of our clients, Carson Edwards, who came out, who's maybe just a smidge bigger. Carson was a top 35 pick playing with the Boston Celtics. A lot of teams kind of had Carson rated ahead of Marcus, and especially it's almost for a guy like that, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Like Marcus Howard will find his way on an NBA roster, I believe, in one way or another. He might not get drafted. He might not get drafted in the first round. He might get a two-way contract if he does not get drafted. But at the end of the day, if you can add value and score and shoot like he can, you'll be able to impact one way or another. It might not be with certain teams, though. You have to get on with the right – when you're that size, fit is so drastically important, more so than anything else. That's the point I'm making.
He is Andy Schiffman. He made that point very well. Indeed. That's why we have you on every Friday. We love it.
We're glad you're feeling better.
Yeah, we are.
Appreciate it.
By the way, I saw your dad. He said hello, too.
He said he missed you last Friday.
Yeah, I bet. He hears enough for me, so it's okay. You don't need to hear me on the radio.
Hey, I think he said something about my son was a little soft this week.
that sounds about right. I'll take that.
Thank you, Andy.
Bye.
Appreciate it.
See you, man.
Thank you. We appreciate it. That is our reason.
Andy's so right for a DJ Jeffries type player, and they have to know who to listen to. The money's not going down. It's still going to be there.
Well, actually, it may be going down a smidge. You started the show with that bit of knowledge. We've been busy today, but not as busy as the Spirit Shop is probably going to be about right now because the weekend is here, and it's not just any weekend, ladies and gentlemen. It's Super Bowl weekend. That means you've got to stock up, and where's the place to go? You know by now, it's your neighborhood place. I don't care where you live. It's your neighborhood store. It's a family-operated Spirit Shop with bargains and with premium. I'm serious. You want the best of wines? You want an Opus? Go in there. He's got it. You want to find what's going to be, say, the next cornerstone? But right now, it's really reasonable. Eddie Conner can tell you what that's going to be, too. Red or white, bourbon or tequila, he's got them all. Bargains and premium. It's that simple. All the accessories and beer, anything you want, even cocktails in a can. We love going there. I'm sure we'll be there sometime soon.
About March Madness time.
Maybe so. Anyway, you need to go there to stock up for the weekend, so it's a fun time. Get ahead of everybody. Don't wait till tomorrow night. Get it now. Of course, now it's open on Sundays, too. That's the way they work. That's the Spirit Shop right down from Clark Tower, Poplar and St. Nick. It's 4848 Poplar Avenue. Your spirits will rise when you go to the Spirit Shop. We take the time out when we come back to Radio Row, and our friend Eli Savoy is standing by, and he's got a very, very special guest. The great Kevin Harlan is next on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Ladies and gentlemen, grab a seat every afternoon for Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 FM and 87.7 FM.
You'll see the dedication in every single step. You'll see it in the smiles When smiles are hard to get, you'll see it in the little things that add up to success. The caring and passion are the things that we love best.
Wolf Chase Limb Brace is your Mid-South provider for orthotics and prosthetics. They are an ABC accredited facility, and their practitioners are ABC certified. At Wolf Chase Limb Brace, their services include artificial limbs, legs and arms, braces of all kinds, and custom molded inserts. You can call them today at 901-507-7821 for their location on Highway 64 in between Germantown Parkway and Appling Road, or visit them at their new location in Jackson, Tennessee. That number is 731-660-5900, or visit them on the web at wolfchaselimbembrace.com.
Dedicated our life to yours. Wolf Chase Limb and Brace.
If you've always thought, hey, I'd look pretty good in a Lexus, well, guess what? Lexus thinks so too. Lexus is offering you the Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Great offers on all 2020 models and special lease options. Drive in luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500. Hey, you look pretty good there. Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event at Lexus of Memphis. Experience amazing.
Hi, folks. Good news from the Sunrise Sheriff. The Sunrise Chevy Ranch is 12 years old, so fire up the old jalopy and get on down here, because there's a saving shindig going on at sunrisememphis.com. Acres of new Chevys, huge discounts, 0% financing, and savings up to $13,000. Bad credit, it's okay. At Sunrise, we've got a financing plan for everybody. Need body work? Bring it to Sunrise. The Sunrise Sheriff has put an end to high prices, and the word's out. Chevys cost less at Sunrise. 385 in Houston, Levy, and Collierville. Specializing in cars and trucks under $10,000. Find new roads.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions, like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. And we give you this magic music, which will inspire the perfect hire to begin clog dancing. Okay, there's no magic music, but skills tests, that's a for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Post your next job at Indeed.com/hire and try skills tests for free. Terms and conditions apply.
The lights are on. The games have started. And now you can place your bets at the casino that's closest to Memphis. Southland Casino. Regular season and postseason. Tournaments and playoffs. Championships and finals. The biggest games are at the best spot to place your bets. Southland. Plus big screens, great bites, and cold brews. Come make your sports bets now at Southland Casino. Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Kansas City and San Francisco are headed to the big game, and Sports 56 will be there.
Wide open. George Kittle out of this world. Touchdown, Kansas City.
Join Eli Savoy live from Radio Row in Miami for Sports 56 middays and throughout the day, Tuesday through Friday. Get all the latest news and hear guests from around the league previewing the matchup. Coverage of the big game on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 is presented by the Big Green Egg, Olive Branch Motorsports, and also brought to you by Memphis Tourism and Sports Council.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Final stretch run on this Friday before the Super Bowl, and
Get
so
close.
excited about. I really am excited about Sunday. In the meantime, I'll let you know this portion of the show is brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Group. It's really more than just the Eflin Group now. It is the Eflin and Britt Linder Group. They are all together now. They have merged, and now that means you get a break. You get access to a multitude of A-rated carriers, and that's determined by AM Best. So we're still locally owned and operated. It's a Memphis business serving all the area communities, and they've been around since 1955. And if you take a look at the Linder family and you take a look at Matt, now you're talking about 300 years of combined insurance experience. They've seen it all. They really have. And they specialize in home and in auto, umbrella, and even small to mid-sized commercial accounts. So we're talking the way Matt likes to run. He does personal and he does business with Brett. They're all about service, service first agency. They say they treat your family like they would treat their own family. You become part of the family. If you want to get that personal experience in the way Matt and Britt operate, they sit you down, one-on-one evaluation of business. They'll forecast out if it's your family, how many kids you got, what are we talking about that's important, home, life, whatever it may be. They find the product and you are protected. If you'd like that kind of service, the number is simple, 757-2315, 901-757-2315, or 386-GRR, GRR, like the Tigers and their big Tiger fans. That's the Eflin Insurance Group. Let's go down to Miami and Radio Rayo for the Super Bowl. Standing by with a very special guest, here is Eli Savoy.
Well, coming up on a Sunday, the broadcast right here on Sports 56, you're going to hear this guy's voice. In my opinion, he's the best in the business. The great Kevin Harlan joins me here on Radio Row. Kevin, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you for those kind words. I'm so thrilled to be on your station, and thank you for carrying our broadcast all the time. We sure appreciate that.
Well, we certainly appreciate you, and I would imagine that this one's going to be a little bit more special than the others.
Well, it might be, yeah. It's my 10th in a row, and that will get me out of a tie with Jack Buck. Jack did 9 consecutive Super Bowls. He missed a year or two because NBC Radio had the rights, and I think Don Criqui did those 2. Then Jack got it back with CBS Radio, did 8 more. So he did 17 altogether on radio, but 10 in a row will be the longest consecutive streak of Super Bowls called radio or TV. So it's a very humbling position to be in, and I grew up listening to Jack Buck, and he was one of my idols growing up, and know his son Joe very well, and so it's somewhat bittersweet to be in this position, but I'm so thankful that I am in the position.
And then you throw in the Kansas City Chiefs, the team that you used to do the games for. Does that make it a little more difficult?
Well, the first Super Bowl I did for CBS Westwood One was the Packers against Pittsburgh, and my dad worked for the Packers for 37 years. Right, yeah. He was the president for 21 of those 37. So that was the very first Super Bowl I did. So that was in Dallas, and remember doing that. But I don't think a Steeler fan or a Packer fan, if they didn't know who I was, would know who I was rooting for, because I don't root for anybody. I only root for a good call, focus, clarity of mind, the right words to come up when they need to, and I root for a good broadcast for us.
Well, and you come through with that all the time. So what do you think are the keys in this matchup?
Well, probably the headline for me is the San Francisco defense against Mahomes. You probably have heard that throughout the week, and I just think that Mahomes is a special kind of talent, and generational, actually. I think he's one of those guys. We just lost Kobe Bryant this week, but when he played, you knew that you were watching someone historic, and I hate to heap, after just 2 years as a starting quarterback, think that Mahomes is in that category, because there's so much yet left in his career. But certainly the very small sample size, Eli, we have and what he's done is pretty significant. And his arm is next generation. We've not seen something like that before. He has a feel in the pocket, as you've seen. The few quarterbacks have. His perception about what's going on around him, where to move or dart or dodge or whatever, it's pretty incredible. So I think just trying to get a handle on him will be like as main a story and as big a story as this game could contain.
Do you expect a close game?
I do. You know what I do? I don't think it's going to be a blowout. And Vegas would tell you that. I think it's 1.5. We've only had 4 or 5 Super Bowls that have ever come out of the chute with that low odds on it. So that's pretty cool. And usually they're pretty close. And no, I see this as, because San Francisco can control the clock, and they've got their own weapons too. They got one of the best tight ends, if not the best tight end, in George Kittle. They can run the ball and control the clock, and their quarterback is good. Garoppolo is a very solid quarterback and rising. His starting record is like 25-3 or so. It's like unbelievable, and what the guy can do. So I'm a big proponent on that. Don't take San Francisco lightly, but their defense certainly has been their calling card and reason why they are where they are. So it's kind of exciting to see that matchup.
Kevin Harlan joining us here on Radio Row. He'll be on the call for Super Bowl 54 here on Sports 56 on Sunday. The Andy Reid, does he need this to kind of validate the career?
Well, Eli, that's been one of the narratives certainly going into this, and I can see why people would say that. He's I think, coached, 21 postseason games, and he still has not won a Super Bowl, and he's had success in Philadelphia and Kansas City. He's the 6th winningest coach of all time. but the guys above him have won double-digit Super Bowls, including Belichick and Noel, and I mean, there's a lot there that you got to take in. But when you've been as successful, and I think he's got another 10, 15 years left. I honestly think he's 63, 62, 63 years old. I think this kid has energized him. I think he sees just how unique a talent that Mahomes is. I think he's mesmerized by where this thing could go, and it's the perfect combination of offensive, edge coach with innovative ideas and everybody buying in and a quarterback to carry him out, and just what this kid can give him at this stage of his career. I think he's fully energized and into it, and I think he's going to coach for a long time, and he could end up at the end of the day much higher than 6 overall wins, in the history of the game. It could be much higher. I think he's going to be visiting Super Bowls here for the next couple of years. I think he's got that kind of talent around him with that quarterback.
All right, a few things I have to ask you away from the game. One, the black cat.
It was on the field. It was like a player.
That was awesome. I mean, you've done this with many other things, but that's one of the great. How much do you hear about the black cat call?
Well, I hear about it a lot. I had a thing in Kansas City a couple weeks ago in Week 17 where I was calling a couple games at the same time.
Yeah, that's right.
People have talked about that, which any broadcaster would have done. And the black cat was on the field. It wasn't like off the side, and it wasn't a sideshow. The play had stopped. The players had turned around to look at the cat on the field. Hands on hips, waiting, when's this cat going to get off? And the cat just stared right back at him. So it kind of became part of the deal. And I've always thought for radio, if I'm in the stands, what am I seeing? I'm seeing, wind blowing the flags. I'm seeing players taking off their helmets and wiping eye black and smearing it across their face. I'm seeing all that stuff. And if I'm in the stands, I'm seeing a black cat on the field, now running like a player right down the middle toward the end zone. So that's what I called. And a lot of guys probably wouldn't have done that. Smarter people than myself would not have called that. I did, and it was okay. It turned out all right.
There's no doubt. The great Kevin Harlan with us. A couple of NBA things. First of all, you mentioned Kobe Bryant, and obviously you've been doing NBA games a long time, and you have a way with words, that's for sure. So I got to get your thoughts on the loss of Kobe.
Well, Eli, that was a tough one for all the people that cover the NBA because I think you were so mesmerized by the way he played and how he conducted himself after he played. But about 3-4 years ago, I do an NBA video game called NBA 2K, and he was the focus of this particular edition about 3-4 years ago. And I flew out to California and spent 4 hours with him just like this, a couple of headsets right across. We talked about everything you can think of, everything, players, family, business, everything. Growing up as the son of a famous basketball player and living in Italy, everything. And I gained a new appreciation for him. I had been around him before because I called every year of his career. But when you're like that and you have those kind of intimate moments where you're just kind of talking, and he was very expansive and very raw in a few instances, you don't forget that. And so I came away with a completely different perception of him. Of course, I'm a father of 3 daughters. He's was a father of 4, and we had that in common. So and then I watched him, and the thing about him was that you knew every game he would give you something that would be just like awe and spot, like he would do a dunk or he would have a pass or he would do something that you were just like completely entranced by, and you could never really have that fade away, and you were looking for it was like a circus. Him and Jordan, now LeBron is more like a Mack truck being airborne. These guys were like the flying Melendez. They were contorting their bodies and going around guys, and they're one and the same guy. Like Kobe says, I copied everything Jordan did, and it showed. There's a great YouTube video out about 2.5 minutes. People should look it up. And it's about Jordan and Kobe, and some guy has put this together with dramatic music, and to see what he has done on tape, and anybody can get it on YouTube, It's like unbelievable.
Right.
Oh my! You cannot believe your eyes that they were so much alike. And Michael gave the baton, handed off the torch to Kobe to carry on, and he did. And then Kobe gave it to LeBron. So, that's a great thing about the NBA. You got these individual guys, and you in Memphis know about terrific players and success, and that's how I think everybody in the NBA community is sad, but I think he touched everybody outside it because he was such an international star and mesmerizing to watch, certainly.
It's funny you mentioned that because and it's not to the Kobe and Michael level yet, but Ja Morant has kind of become that guy for us with the Grizzlies. Like every game, he has 2 or 3 of those plays. You go, what did he just do?
What did I just see?
Have you had a chance to see him much?
I've not seen him in person, unfortunately. I've watched him certainly when he was in the tournament, and have watched a lot of highlights of him. The kid is gifted. Seems to have his head on straight, which I love. And Memphis is lucky to have him. I hope he's the beginning now of a nice new addition of success for that franchise. I love the kid. I think he's great, and he has all the markings of that next high-flying, like you cannot believe what you're seeing type of player.
Kevin, thank you so much for your time once again this year. Best of luck with the call. We'll be listening on Sunday.
Great to be on in Memphis, Eli. Great to see you again as well.
That's Kevin Harlan joining us here on Radio Row.
Wow, that was fun listening to that. That voice. Ooh, baby, I love that voice. He's a nice guy, too. I years ago when he was just really getting his feet wet, and he was doing, I think it was Westwood NCAA basketball. This is before he was doing Super Bowls for Westwood One. He was not a number 1 guy. This is many, many years ago. And I was covering an NCAA tournament. I can't remember what year it was. I sat next to him, and before the game, I BS'd a bunch with him, and it was just like 2 guys talking. I think he was still, at that point, he was just doing the Chiefs game on the NFL, and he was just getting his feet wet with the basketball. But he's maintained that level of, I'm really grateful for what I've gotten, and not like a big head kind of a guy. And he mentioned he's got 3 daughters. Well, we know one of them is married to Sam Decker, and Olivia is a sideline reporter who's doing a heck of a job. She's following after her father's footsteps in the business. We'll take our final timeout on this Friday. When we come back, we've got crunch time to come your way as you listen to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Hey everybody, this is Coach Penny Hardaway. There's a comfort in being home, and to me, comfort food and family makes Memphis the place to be, along with having the best basketball fans in America. I like pulling into Corky's and getting one of their family party packs. How can you go wrong with pork, beans, slaw, sauce, and buns for only $5.99 a person? It is so easy. I can call ahead, order online, or just pop in. Tailgating can't get any easier. Tell them Penny sent you.
Encore flavor, Corky's barbecue.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. It is that time of year where the weather is unpredictable, and given the recent storms, it's a good time to discuss insurance claims. So here's a few things you should know. Always hire a local contractor, because if you have a problem with your roof down the road, you want to be able to find him. Never allow anyone to pressure you into signing a contingency contract. They're used as sales tools, making you feel committed, and the truth is, those contracts are not worth the paper they're written on. Be careful of door-knocking salesmen. Some are reputable, but many are not. They canvass the neighborhood and tell everyone to file a claim, working their percentages and not caring if you file a claim, even when they know the likelihood of it being approved is low. Some will even damage your roof, hoping to convince the adjuster it's storm damage. That's fraud, and contractors have gone to jail for that. So do your research and know who you're hiring. Five-Ash Roofing, the official roof of the University of Memphis Athletic Department. Fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
And now, a page from the diary of Flo.
Dear Diary, the ghost is back.
This house is protected through Progressive, but that doesn't mean it's not haunted. How else would you explain that radiator-like clanking sound? Or the moon-colored light in the hallway that's gone by morning? Maybe he never bundled home and auto, and he's doomed to suffer an eternity without the savings.
Save an average of 17% on car insurance when you bundle home and auto through Progressive.
What was that wind-like sound? Oh, right, the wind.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Final portion of our week, right before the Super Bowl. I've got Kansas City. Drew's got Kansas City. The contrary one, that would be Brett Norsworthy.
And Bruce Marshall.
Going with San Francisco. And yeah.
The Niners.
So is that why you went with it? Bruce
No.
Marshall sort of
No,
steered you in that
I liked
direction?
him since Championship Sunday, and I really don't have a great feel. If I'm right, I'm lucky. If I'm wrong, what of it?
Why don't you just go ahead and predict overtime again?
No, because I kind of ran the course with that. That was fun for
Actually,
about 10 years.
if there's one, this could be it.
Well, I got the one. I got the one a few years ago.
Well, if you say it every year, you know, the odds are it's going to happen.
Part of it.
We've got crunch time coming your way in a minute. Let me let you know this portion of the show brought to you by Genesis of Olive Branch, the luxury car that I'm telling you is sweeping the country, and they're really, really making more. They're trying to get them in because there is such a demand for the G90, for the G70. I just got introduced to the G80. That's sort of in the middle. The G70 looks like a James Bond car. Mine looks almost, what did you call it, a limo the other day?
You were just rolling
like
around.
A limo driver. Man, if I did any kind of Uber, I mean, that would have to be like triple.
Oh, that'd be Ultra. Yeah, that'd be,
Ultra? Ultra.
Or Max. What is it? Uber Max?
Uber. I thought Uber.
Uber Plus.
Uber Plus. Mine would be Plus.
I'm going
Plus.
to my Uber now.
Uber Plus Plus is what it would be. Like, you just got to go check it out for yourself. You know it's so good. It's got a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty on every new car on the lot. And that's the truth. There's a reason. It's so good they last forever. And the comfort you have. Mine's got seat warmers, seat coolers, windshield wipers that they start on their own when it starts to rain. Then, of course, there's the steering wheel warmer. What am I missing? By the way, back seat, your own climate control, your own way to listen to your own music if you want. It's just all about individual comfort and so much safety. And, of course, you're talking about the best dealership around. Man, they are there to make it easy for you and do right by you. Go find out for yourself. Get on Lamar into Mississippi. First exit's Craft Road. Turn left, and you will be there at the best place with the best automobile around, the Genesis of Olive Branch. It's crunch time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that?
Take questions again for the student athletes at this time, please.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
Is this thing working? It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Boop, boop, boop. That's what you're getting.
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. I think it was pretty unanimous this week and heading into Sunday afternoon, and can kind of confirm for me today, nobody's got a great feel for this game. If San Fran wins, they got to play keep away and cash in opportunities. Kind of the Giants' big tuna game plan when they beat Buffalo the first time. Give it to O.J. Anderson, ground and pound, work the clock. And for Kansas City, I think they want to track meet.
I think Kansas City wants to throw the ball all over the place and try to make San Francisco come from behind with an offense that isn't built to come from behind.
Jim Garoppolo throwing it 40 times probably won't look good Sunday, will it?
No. I learned today while perusing the UConn notes, you're not going to believe this. Hashim Thabit is still playing. Did you know that? Hashim Thabit is playing in the G League for the Fort Wayne Mad Ants.
Let rephrase that. Hashim Thabit still stealing.
I promise you, he is absolutely still on a roster.
Bust of all
Is
time,
that not
wasn't it?
amazing? Oh, and also thanks to you, I learned Doug Barron, because I saw that he was he was in top 10 after the first round. After the second round, tied for 9th
T9.
in Marrakesh in Morocco. Come on, get on the Marrakesh Express.
That was set up for you, wasn't it?
It was.
That's a good song. That was Paul Simon,
Don't you
wasn't
know?
it?
No. Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
Again, every time I think it's
It's
Paul,
all Paul Simon with you.
every time I think it's Paul Simon, it's Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
Oh.
I could have done without Coach K meeting at Duke with the students, saying he was emotionally charged, and then used Kobe's death. Come on, Coach K. I don't want to question anybody. Well, I guess I did just question his sincerity.
He's
good Lord.
He's really. Why didn't he just?
I blew it.
Fess
I
up
had a bad
and
moment.
say,
I had a bad moment.
I thought they were picking on my
Kinda
guy,
like me with
and
guessing Paul Simon.
I got a little over defensive. I apologize to the students. I'll do a better job of listening
And
next
I'll
time.
take a little exception with him saying that Jeff Capel's, quote unquote, one of us. No, he's not. He's the coach of the opposing team.
He was once a Dookie, always a Dookie. Come on, you know that.
And those gooby Cameron crazies, that bunch.
I could have done on without the new Tigers positions in bracketology. You heard Bruce Marshall say earlier he's 12 now.
Yeah, everybody's
down
just hanging
from
on.
8.
I know what to fix
Jerry
that.
Palms just came out today. 10. I guess I could live with 10.
Jerry Palm was 10?
Yeah.
Japon was 10. Lenardi's got you in Dayton, though.
You're in Dayton. Dateline Dayton.
That's extra games.
Well, good luck. Maybe, one.
What's the furthest anybody that's been a Dayton team?
Oh, we had
advanced?
Final Four.
That's what I
BCU came
thought.
out of
That's-
Dayton.
That's what I
and
thought.
we had another one come out
Could
of
happen.
Dayton, didn't we?
It could absolutely happen. And I'd get 2 extra games.
Did
Come on
Butler?
now.
Did Butler come out? I think 2's come out of Dayton and gone to a Final Four.
I think it's only VCU.
We'll look. Keeping a close eye on a lot this weekend. Tigers and UConn tomorrow, high noon, FedEx Forum. I say must win. When you're in these rankings in tournament bracketology, you've got to win. But that's where we are for a lot of teams. The season, I don't think it is teetering, but it can with the next loss, particularly a next home loss.
You know why? You're at home and you're
win.
playing an 88 net team.
That's it, Dave.
You cannot. That's a quad 2 because you're at home and they're 88.
That's
you
it.
can't lose any more quad 2s.
Grizzlies in New Orleans tonight against the Pels. Ja versus Zion. No Jaren. Maybe no Brandon Clark. Maybe a lot of players
no
out.
Brandon Clark for
Tomorrow in the AAC. Houston at Cincinnati. Wichita State at Tulsa. In the SEC, UT at State. Vols fans from this area, bet you're headed down to Starkville tomorrow to catch the Vols in the neighborhood.
I got a game tomorrow.
I said Vols fans.
Oh, Vols fans.
I don't think you're among them.
Oh, I'm a big fan of Tennessee. Come on.
Oh, I know you are. Cal versus Bruce Pearl tomorrow in Auburn on the Plains.
Oh, that's always fun.
And Sunday, Super Bowl.
You think those
LIV.
two guys have ever made any kind of peace? Bruce Pearl and John Calipari?
I don't think they're interested in peace, Dave.
There's no détente.
No.
VCU's the only team to come out of Dayton
Okay.
and make the Final Four, although 4 other teams have made the Sweet 16.
Okay.
I would take that deal right now.
I would
Go
too.
ahead, hand it to me.
Kansas City and San Francisco historically only have met 13 times in regular season games. San Francisco leads 7-6. They just hadn't played that much because of the whole AFL, NFL thing and how the schedule was so imbalanced forever.
Yep. You did mention tonight the Grizz and the Pelicans.
I did.
And did you mention the Lakers play for the first time since
I didn't.
Kobe's passing?
And
Trailblazers tonight. That'll be an interesting game.
It will be emotional in Los Angeles.
That'll be on ESPN.
And rightfully so.
And Men's Open Australian semifinal tonight, too. If you want to watch that, I think that begins.
Good luck on the time. That's the problem with the Australian Open. Is it live or is it Memorex?
Yeah, it is tough to tell. I think the women's championship is actually 2:30 this morning. I'm not going to.
I'll let you tell me all about it.
I'm definitely not going to
See you at FedEx Forum tomorrow.
I will see you at FedEx Forum. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Mid-South Power Distributors is your source for all things diesel. For more than 26 years, they've supplied all the diesel parts that you need. From simple repairs to complete overhauls, they have it all. Whether it's heavy, medium, light duty, agricultural, marine, or off-road, Mid-South Power is the leading source for all things diesel. Fuel injection, turbochargers, engine parts, alternators, starters, and brakes, they can supply all the parts and services you need. Stop in today at 3250 Mill Branch Road in Memphis or call 901-396-0710.
DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test driven, checked out from head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman